Check. Yo, what's good, guys? Sorry, had to get my volume up. This is last minute. Sorry about that. All right. So here we are today, guys. We have another attempt on former President Trump's life. All right. Allegedly. Here we are. We're loading up. Bear with me. I was not supposed to be covering an assassination attempt today. I was supposed to be doing a regular show. All right. So this wasn't supposed to happen. Give me a second. I got to check all my stuff, make sure everything's open. All right. Looks like we're good, guys. Look. All right. Here we go. Sorry. Last minute. All right. Apparently in West Palm Beach, Florida, about an hour ago, I assume. I'm not sure when exactly this happened. All this is brand new to me. I had to literally jump on here as soon as I seen it. So again, bear with me. Might be a little sound issue. I'm still working on that right now, but we have an attempted assassination on former President Trump in West Palm Beach at his golf course. All right. The guy's name is Ryan Wesley something. I'm sorry. All this information is coming out new. I am trying to catch up right now. Give me a second. It's a lot going on right now. I am live on all platforms right now. Just want to make that known right now. I am on all platforms. Listen up, hear me out. Yo, chime in the comments. We're going to be up here for a while. This was not the show that I was supposed to do tonight. So we're going to go ahead and count this show as one of the main shows for this week. But it was not supposed to be another attempt on the president's life. That is not what my show was about. All right. So I've kind of scrapped that show now because I'm over here covering President Trump. So I'm finna go through some news articles. I'm getting everything loaded up still. All right. Listen up, guys. So we have another assassination attempt on President Trump's life. All right. Again, I know you guys remember the last time I had to cover this. I said it was a possible false flag and it was fake. All right, what we do know right now that the gentleman had an AK-47 style rifle, ceramic plates, and a GoPro. He was a 47-year-old white male. All right, so that's all I'm really knowing right now. A lot of this information is coming out as I'm kind of sorting through it. All right, I'm trying to pull up some stories right now and read through some stuff. I got the live in the background. So what I'm gonna do is while I get everything set up, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on for you guys because what I'm hearing is that no one's covering it. So I'm gonna go ahead and cover it real quick. I know CNN is covering it. I heard ABC on Facebook is covering it. All right. Again, this is the Daily Rabbit Hole, the Deep State Report. All right. We have another attempted assassination on former President Trump. This comes maybe almost a week after the debates. All right. So chime in the comments. I see your comments. I'm a little hectic right now. I'm trying to get all this sorted out. All right, here you go.
So the thought that he would immediately ask for an attorney and clam up um, may not be the case. It may be that when he was caught, it could have been very forthcoming on what his motivation was. In fact, even bragging about what he was trying to do, based on the fact that he did what he did. That's possible. That's speculation. We don't know. They have not said that, and I don't want anybody to jump to conclusions. But one thing we can infer is that they've got a lot of information on this individual, and they appear to be fairly what you see there in the picture, which was setting up a sniper's nest to take the former president under fire. And so things are moving rather fast. I have a feeling by tomorrow, we're going to have a lot more detail on what happened today.
Yeah, that is very true. And like you mentioned, just some of the cooperation as he might be speaking to authorities, also alluding to it by the fact that there was a GoPro found at the site just outside of this golf course in West Palm Beach. Art Hal Kemper, thank you so much. As always, a story that we're going to continue to follow. 51 days until the November election, heightened security around Trump and other candidates moving forward. But thank you again. I appreciate your time here on Live Now from Fox.
Okay, thank you, Andy.
All right, thank you so much. All right, let's continue on here on Live Now from Fox. Breaking news, the FBI investigating this assassination attempt. Information coming in very, very piecemeal as the pieces come in, but we do know the suspect's name right now. Here's the latest as he is identified as Ryan Wesley Ralph, a 60-year-old white male. This according to the son of the Martin County Sheriff, a Florida state representative. We're continuing to follow this developing story here on Live Now from Fox. We'll slide away for a quick 2-minute break, resets, and we'll hear this press conference again in full after this break.
All right. So his name is Ryan Wesley Ralph. All right. He is an older white gentleman, say in his 50s. I'm not sure. Again, all this information is coming to me as it's happening. All right. Listen, whatever's going on right now, there's no coming back for it or from it. All right. Whatever is at play, whatever is being done is in full motion right now. And the only way that I can explain it is that there seems to be some clash, some division within the ranks of the Republicans and the Democrats regarding this election. All right. If you were tuned in with me during the debates, we sat here and we listened to a lot of mudslinging, a lot of name calling, a lot of BS, and a lot of lies. All right. What's going on is my best way to call almost political theater, and it's really good political theater. But what I'm trying to say is right now, there is something really wrong with all of this. This is the second attempt on this man's life in the last 2 months, easily. Okay? Now, I'm not saying this dude is a leftist. I'm not saying any of that. He does fit the description of an angry white male in America, and that's typically how they want to play it. All right? Now, all this information is new to me. I'm looking through stuff as we talk. They're saying he got within 300 to 500 yards. He had ceramic plates, AK-47 style rifle. All right? Again, all speculation right now. They do have the gentleman detained, but as of right now, that they're pretty tight-lipped on everything else going on. All right? Talk about a hell of a Sunday, guys. Like, this was, not my show plan for today. My show plan for today was to maybe talk about, some social engineering, the migrants. We're probably going to get into that since I'm on here now. Might as well just go and get into all of it. But right now, we have another attempt on former president's life. All right? Now, there's not much information on this gentleman, but from the internet right now, if you type in Ryan Wesley Ralph, it seems like the gentleman's from North Carolina. Again, that means absolutely nothing. There are plenty of people popping up on my page right now saying, Ralph. When I say page, I mean my internet page, not you guys. But just different Ryan Wesley Ralph. There's no image of this gentleman right now. But he has been detained. He did leave a gun behind, all right? Now, we got some information on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and go back, let them talk, because I don't know a whole lot, but I got to cover it. All right, here you go.
The individual was taken into custody. Witnesses later identified the suspect at the scene outside of this golf course. They found, authorities did, an AK-style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks, and a GoPro. The FBI leading the investigation into what they're calling an attempted assassination. They say Trump is safe. He was 300 to 500 yards away from the shooter at the time of what transpired earlier on. So still very much fluid information. Let's take you out to local law enforcement alongside Secret Service and people on the ground in Florida providing an update from just a little bit ago.
Okay, guys, you ready? Little rules of the road like we always talk about ahead of time. We are going to give you, when I say we have a representative from the FBI, from the Secret Service, from the State Attorney's Office. We are going to give you everything we have. Everything. All right? So when we get done, think about your questions, because we're not going to take a lot. And keep them to the information that you heard. Don't get into what ifs, and because of this, we're not going to go there. All right? So keep that in mind, and we'll be good. So here we go. All right, 1:30 this afternoon. Call came out, shots fired. That was called in by the Secret Service. Because we're in constant contact with them all the time, we were notified of that, and we had units here that immediately sealed off the area. Fortunately, we were able to locate a witness that came to us and said, hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes. He jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a picture of the vehicle and the tag, which was great. So we had that information. Our real-time crime center put it out to the license plate readers. And we were able to get a hit on that vehicle on I-95 as it was headed into Martin County. We got a hold of Martin County Sheriff's Office, alerted them, and they spotted the vehicle and pulled it over and detained the guy. After that, we took the victim, the witness that witnessed the incident, flew him up there, and he identified as the person that he saw running out of the bushes and jumped into the car. Now, in the bushes where this guy was is a AK-47 style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks which were hung on the fence that had ceramic tile in them, and a GoPro, which he was going to take pictures of. So those are being processed right now. The Secret Service agent that was on the course did a fantastic job. What they do is they have an agent that jumps one hole ahead of time to where the president was at. And he was able to spot this rifle barrel sticking out of the fence and immediately engage that individual, at which time the individual took off. So that's what we know about the investigation. We have somebody in custody right now that is a potential suspect. We got a little bit more work to do on it, but as we usually do, as soon as we decide that we're gonna book him into the county jail and the charges that he's gonna be booked into, we'll get those to you and we'll get a picture of him and we'll get you his background. So now I'm gonna turn it over to the representative of the Secret Service, and he's gonna make a brief statement.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I first want to thank all of our law enforcement partners, to include the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office and the Martin County Sheriff's Office, for their involvement today. Former President Donald Trump is safe and unharmed following a protective incident shortly before 2 p.m. on Sunday at Trump International Golf Club at West Palm Beach. The U.S. Secret Service personnel opened fire on a gunman located near the property line, and this matter is under investigation. I'll turn it over to my partners over at the FBI.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Veltri. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI's Miami field office. The FBI has assumed the role as the lead federal law enforcement agency in the investigation of the incident that occurred earlier today at Trump International Golf Course here in West Palm Beach, Florida. We've deployed a number of resources, including investigative teams, crisis response team members, bomb technicians, and evidence response team members as well. What we need right now is for the public to avoid the area around the golf course. We will continue to support this investigation with the full resources of the FBI, alongside our partners with the United States Secret Service and the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office, as well as Martin County Sheriff's Office and state and local law enforcement. I would ask that if anyone has any information that may assist with this investigation, to contact our tip line at 1-800-CALL-FBI or at tips, that's TIPS .fbi.gov. Thank you.
David?
Hi, I'm Dave Ehrenberg, State Attorney for Palm Beach County. I want to thank Sheriff Bradshaw and our partners at the local, state, and federal levels. I'm here because our prosecutors are currently working up warrants and a motion for pretrial detention for the suspect. In that way, he will be kept in custody. But our filing of these warrants and charges at the state level does not preclude federal charges that could be coming. But in the meantime, it looks like the warrants and the pretrial detention motion will happen first. And again, I want to thank the cooperation we've had with our federal partners and at the local level. And thank you all for being here today.
Okay, we're going to make these pictures available to you. It'll show you a picture of the backpack and the rifle. And there's also a GoPro on the fence there where he was intent on filming what was going on. Even though we're going to have to secure a couple of areas around the golf course here, the public doesn't need to panic. We know that we got a post office, a library, and a school down the street. So we'll make it convenient for you to get to all the places you need to go, get your kids to school, get them over here to the post office or wherever else you need to go. It's safe, there's no more danger here, and we'll make it very convenient for you. So having said that, we're going to take a very limited amount of questions, and you can direct them to who you want to answer the question.
Sheriff, did this individual make any statements as he was being detained?
No statement right now as far as his involvement in the incident, and there's further investigation to be completed.
What was his demeanor like?
Yeah, I'm not sure if maybe the Secret Service gentleman answered. I misunderstood, or I couldn't quite understand. So there was a rifle. So one of your agents saw on the golf course saw a rifle pointing to a fence. Was it a chain link? Okay, so he saw that, the agent.
That is correct, yes.
And the president or former president was on the course behind him. How close?
It was 1 or 2 holes behind.
1 or 2.
That because the bubble moves through the golf course, so our agents will get there first, clear it. He noticed that the rifle was pointed out. Our agents engaged. We are not sure right now if the individual was able to take a shot at our agents, but for sure our agents were able to engage with the subject. I don't know that.
Doesn't appear so.
Is there a motive?
Yep. Al?
How far away was the president? How far away was Donald Trump when this gentleman was caught and stopped?
I got it. Okay. Probably between 300 and 500 yards, but with a rifle and a scope like that, that's not a long distance.
For the Secret Service, how far was your agent from the would-be assailant?
That I'm not sure right now. We're still looking into that.
Reports of the 4 rounds of ammunition were fired. Were all 4 of those from your agent?
That is correct. 4 to 6. We're not sure yet.
Was there a long distance? Explaining why?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
WPF 25. I was wondering what how this was able to happen, and for future reference, is there any up security in the golf course?
I didn't hear all of that. Say that one more time and talk up a little bit.
So how was this able to happen, and for future reference, is there any up security in the golf course?
Well, you got to understand the golf course is surrounded by shrubbery. So when somebody gets into the shrubbery, they're pretty much out of sight. All right. And at this level that he is at right now, he's not the sitting president. If he was, we would have had this entire golf course around it. But because he's not, the security is limited to the areas that the Secret Service deems possible. So I would imagine that the next time he comes to the golf course, there'll probably be a little bit more people around the perimeter. But the Secret Service did exactly what they should have done. They provided exactly what the protection should have been, and their agent did a fantastic job.
Which direction was the shrubbery where he was? North, south? I guess east, west, or south is the road?
It's hard, the layout of the golf course, you've got 3 holes, 5, 6, and 7. All right. One of them runs parallel to Summit Boulevard. One of them runs parallel to Congress. And he was in an area in the shrubbery where he could see both holes. So the president was another hole back, which means he's about between 400 and 500 yards away.
So he was on the golf course?
Oh, he's on the golf course, yeah, but he's back a ways.
For the Secret Service, have you guys changed at all the way that you guys are protecting former President Donald Trump? This now potential second attempt on him. Can you just elaborate on how things have changed and what you make of all this?
Yes, the threat level is high. We have increased the amount of assets that we've supported, so we live in danger times. So yes.
Okay. We're done with questions right now. There's really nothing more for us to add. I just want to tell you, the Secret Service and the FBI and the State Attorney's Office have been fantastic to work with. And I can tell you right now, our agency with this real-time crime center was fabulous. That's how we got the guy. We started out with, we don't know anything, to where we had a tag, we had a vehicle description, and we got an area where we saw the person. So be proud of your law enforcement. All right, thanks folks, we'll get back to you.
Where on 95 was it that?
All right, listening there to the latest briefing provided by investigators earlier on today after what the FBI is calling the second assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump. Thank you so much for sticking with us here at Live Now from Fox. I'm your host.
All right, we're back, guys. Listen up. As you read the screen, we're going to go with the screen too. Just kind of hang out with me right now. Again, a lot of this is last minute. This wasn't supposed to happen today. You can't put an awareness notice on the deep state. When things pop off with the deep state, guys, it goes left quickly. All right, whatever's going on right now, it is all out for Trump. All right, and this is not me sitting here, Trump. That's not what I'm doing. But there is clearly a problem. Nowhere in presidential history have we seen two attempts like this out in the open. Now, I have footage in Pennsylvania from when this originally happened the first time. All right. Now, recap. When the original assassination attempt happened, he was in Pennsylvania doing a rally. Gentleman was on the roof. Secret Service spotted him. Didn't take the initial shot. Not until shots were fired. He was allegedly nicked at the ear. Gets ushered out of the rally. Those two people that were killed, rest their souls, like I've always said. But right now, this is the second attempt that has been publicized. Okay, what they're saying is the gentleman was 300 to 500 yards out with an AK style rifle, ceramic plates, and a GoPro. I always want you guys to remember, when something goes on in America, always remember that there is someone live streaming it. There's always more equipment than needed. All right. Some of the equipment that people are using is easily accessible via the internet or your local gun store, okay? Oh, shit. You can't hear me? Can you guys understand me? Someone said they can't understand me. Checking systems again, because a lot of this is last minute. Ah. Okay, I sound clear in my feedback. All right, you guys can hear me? We're all good? All right, we're all good. You can hear me. Listen, so when this happened, it was publicized. Everything with this man is going to be publicized, all right? How this is going to play out with the deep state is this. Whatever's going on, they do not want this man to go through with, right? They're gonna go through with this. Whatever's going on, it could be a ploy. I honestly do not know if it's a ploy or not, or these people are really taking pop shots at the former president. All right. We've seen people knocked off. We've seen presidents get hit. We know they do not miss. All right. Whatever's happening right now, it is hit the fan again. We are in this present moment with 2 attempts within 2 months. All right. I don't care what y'all are thinking, whether it's a real event or it's false flag. We need to address the situation at hand. The deep state is putting on this spectacle. They're trying to get away with something. I can't tell you what it is exactly, but if you look at how everything's lining up with the migrants, the whole duck eating incident, Aurora, Colorado, California, Chicago, everywhere around America, there is pure chaos going on. And I've told you before in the Silent War episode that shock and awe is how they're going to corral this in with the sheep, okay? So understand that what you're watching is part of the shock and awe. What you're watching is the strategy of tension to create chaos within America so that the people itself become unhinged and make the poor choice. What happens when that poor choice happens is that executive order and martial law is in play. I have been through my Telegram today before this incident happened, and what I was hearing that there was something huge going on around America. I cannot tell you exactly what is going on, but what I can tell you right now, the military has been told something. I don't know what it is. My understanding is that they have been prepped as to something big was going to happen in America. I saw that earlier today. Now, what's going on right now may be that big thing. Now, the gentleman is a white male. That does not mean he's an American. He has a very American name. Again, all this is speculation right now. Whatever's happening, they're ramping up America. It's coming. Whatever we have coming down this pipeline, it is coming quickly. All right? We are only in September. We have not made it to November yet. We are not anywhere near November. You guys got to understand, this is not normal. Okay? Sure. In the history of our presidents, there have been plenty of world leaders who wanted to take pop shots at our presidents. What we know about the assassinations of our presidents is that they never came from overseas. Now, a lot of history has been put into the Kennedy assassination, tying Cuba into that and possibly Russia, but a lot of that was hearsay. All right? We understand that Lee Harvey Oswald may have been a Manchurian candidate. This gentleman that we're talking about could have been a Manchurian candidate. The gentleman in Pennsylvania, likely a Manchurian candidate. All right? Are you guys noticing a pattern here? All right? Whatever is going on with this whole entire election, the notion of the last president and the migrants, it's real. I do not care what nobody says. I shared a video from Thomas Massey this past weekend where he basically called this political theater. It is on my page, go back. He goes through a list of different issues in America, and he states that a lot of the things that we're talking about have already happened. He was like, that's why I stated in that post that he's admitting some known conspiracies that a lot of people are saying that's fake. Like, think about this, people. America has been destabilized for the last 4 years. The destabilization of the United States of America came in 2020 with the C-19. You guys got to understand what's going on right now. This is not normal. None of this is normal at all. We know the deep state does not miss. They do not. Now, there have been presidents that have lived. Reagan was shot. Remember, Reagan took a bullet too, but he lived. Okay? He did live. Lincoln, Kennedy, not so much. And anyone else who has run across the quote-unquote deep state has not survived it. All right? So we have to understand what's really going on right now. I don't know if this is a ploy to ramp us up even more, or are they really taking shots at this man from the left? I can't tell you who it is. I can't tell you what it is. The situation is so fresh. Now, I do have footage. Let's see. I have footage from, I got that on, I do have the original footage from the Trump assassination. I'm gonna pull it up and we're gonna go back over this, all right? Give me a second. I got that on silent so it shouldn't blare in. Give me a second. Oh my God, I can't find it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. All right, this is the original footage from the one in Pennsylvania, guys. All right.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
All right, listen up. So this is the original footage. I'm reading your comments. When I say Trump is part of the deep state, what I always mean is that if you follow the secret societies and the money with these people, they always tie themselves into each other. Now, the strange thing about this situation is the fact that they keep taking shots at him. Now, what I'm saying is something is clearly off right now. Something is extremely off about all of this. All right? There's things we've seen in our American history, but we have never seen a spectacle quite like the last 8 years. And I can only go by what I know, people. I'm 38 years old. I've watched a lot of presidential tenures go on. And I tell you, I've seen some spectacles from the Bush Jr. false flag of weapons of mass destruction to the Fast and Furious program in the Obama administration, and the push in the weaponization of the LGBTQ community. All right, the weaponization of our education system towards our children, the weaponization of the medicine, the water, the food. This is probably the strangest last 8 years I've ever witnessed in my existence of what we would think this is presidency, government, whatever you want to call this shit show. This is not normal. There is something gravely wrong right now. And I'm not quite sure why it's playing out this way. I can't really give you that right now. What I can say is that when there's an assassination attempt, we need to look towards the alphabet boys. And I'm telling you, any one of them, anyone, because there's no way that this is still happening. And they're missing. See, the missing is the weird part. The fact that they keep missing is what's throwing me off. Because we've seen people be laid down. We've heard of the stories of Gary Webb, the gentleman who blew the whistle on the CIA against the crack epidemic and the drugs in America. He shot himself in the back of the head twice. The Las Vegas shooter shot himself in the chest twice. All right? The first dude who created the hydro engine also shot himself in the head twice. All right? The gentleman who created the second hydro engine in Buffalo was caught in the mass shooting at that grocery store. So listen when I tell you, they do not miss. They don't miss. This isn't, the fact that they're missing is blowing my mind right now because they don't miss. They typically don't. I don't care if it's 300 yards, 500 yards, 149 yards. They typically do not miss. They typically have not. All right? They only miss in movies. They don't miss in real life. So the fact that this is the second presidential assassination attempt in the last 2 months says a lot. So here's my theory. I've always told you guys about the false flags and the psyops and the shock and awe. I've been trying to educate the masses on stuff like this, get these terms out here so that people understand what we're talking about and not say ignorant shit like, well, you're just making it up. That's not what I'm doing. So my thing is this. Whatever's going on, it's happening. And it is not the end of it. It's about to get a lot stranger. It keeps getting stranger. It's gonna keep getting stranger. Now, where do we go from here? What is the idea for everyone in the community? As I've always told you guys, you have 2 eyes, you have 2 ears, pay attention. Whatever's happening, it's being controlled because you need organization to make chaos go. Listen, I'm looking at your comments on my screen. I would like to think it's a lone wolf. If it's a lone wolf, I can buy it. I'll buy the lone wolf theory. But when's the last time we've seen lone wolves? When's the last time we've had lone wolf attempts on former presidents and presidents that we know of? Everything, John Wilkes Booth was lone wolf, but there was more to that story that we know about. Lee Harvey Oswald was supposed to be lone wolf, but that's not how that played out. If it is lone wolf, then that should tell you how unhinged Americans are right now, because most cases dealing with the president, I don't know how to take this. Most times there's someone behind the scenes. I just don't lean on American citizens anymore doing stuff like this. We're unhinged beyond belief. But this gentleman, whoever he is, if he did it, people, we have a problem. If they're willing to take pop shots at presidents, the regular person stands no chance. Because what's happening right now is you're seeing the chaos spew over now. Now it's coming out. Now it's moving forward. Now it's happening. We haven't had a whole lot of fabricated hatred like this before in the media, guys. Like David said, he says, when have we had so much fabricated hatred for someone produced by the media before? That's a good question. That's a real good question. All right. I don't know what's going on. I'm at a loss for words to see 2 attempts in 2 months on one person. I don't know. I can't really explain this one to you, but I do know I had to jump my ass on this show while I was trying to sort out the original shows I was going to do. Thanks a lot, Deep State and news and media. I had a whole other show lined up tonight. And here we are talking about President Trump again. It seems that the media has ramped this thing up. Okay, now we have 2 attempts. So clearly, even if these people are lone wolves, look at the 80 to 90 million people rocking with this man right now and what you think they're saying. What do you think is coming out of their mouth right now? We got one more chance, man. The 3rd time is a charm. And I always say this, remember, in The Simpsons, regardless of what people say, they go to his funeral in The Simpsons. Even though we know the writers are Freemasons and we know how this goes, what I'm saying is 3rd time could be a charm. This is the 2nd time. Now, if they don't get him before the election, it's possible at his inauguration to prove a point, they're going to plaster him on national TV. They've already tried it once. Whoever they is, that's they. It could be a lone wolf because Americans are unhinged enough to try it. It's just been really rare that we've had this in a while, but they can try it. So all I'm saying is right now, guys, do not get yourself wound up about this. Do not try to go out into the streets and take vigilante justice. Do not do that. You're going to spark a conflict that's already bubbling right now. Whatever's happening, it's happening. We're here. It ain't much we can keep allowing, I guess, and watching before something really hits the fan. Me personally, I've always said if you check the cloud pivot strategy, you check the migrants, you check all the stuff that's going on right now, even with that debate, it's something wrong. It's something horribly wrong. And we, the people of America, all of us, no matter your color or shade, you are a part of everything that's happening right now. All right? This is going to be the conversation for the next week or so. And as more information comes out, here we go. Now people may get riled up, people may get upset. I ask you all to stay in your homes. Do not go out here and try to be some vigilante Civil War shit. You just seen that movie. People, do not let this predictive programming push you over the edge. I covered a couple shows ago the shooting outside in Kentucky over the overpass, and that whole story disappeared and they never found the gentleman. I have not found anything else on that, whether he's alive, he's unalived, or he's sitting on his couch drinking a beer. No one has said anything at all about the amount of shootings that are going on that don't seem exactly right. They just put out how the gentleman in Georgia brought his rifle into the school. Okay? People, do not buy into this. Be careful of the images in your box. And I mean your phones, your tablets, your TVs. It's a box. It's a portal to your mind. Do not let these people rile y'all up like this and miss the real situation at hand. They're gonna push left against right, American against migrant, or they're gonna just cut the lights out if none of it works. And that's really what I'm thinking they're gonna aim for, because people in America really do not want this. No one wants this. We're stuck in a situation right now. We have no clue on what's going on because we are not a part of that apparatus. We have to remain vigilant. I'm not telling you not to protect your homes and your families. That's not what I'm saying, because we have heard and seen the articles about people showing up to folks' houses and people being followed now. So I will never tell you to not protect yourself. What I'm saying is, do not get out here and try to be vigilantes. Do not do that, because you're going to stoke that flame even more. You're going to stoke it, and it's going to be bad. All right? The migrant situation has already put us in a boiling point. In Coleman, Alabama, I told you guys about what went down between a veteran selling his trailer and an illegal migrant tried to rob him. You go to Silicaga, Alabama right now, they are talking the same exact thing as Springfield, Ohio about the ducks and the animals going missing. Listen, whatever is happening right now, it is in motion. It's in motion. And the more we understand how much motion there really is, now we can understand how to combat it as Americans. All right, you see Vice President Kamala Harris on the screen right now saying violence has no place in America. All right, press releases are going to come out, just like when Trump took that first shot. Biden was the first one to come out and say something. They're all glad he's safe. All right, again, I don't know what to take from this. All right, I'm not finna sit up here and get on here like alternative media and tell you it's the Trump train and it's this and that. You gotta vote for him. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna scare y'all into voting for this man, because I still think this man is part of the problem. That's my opinion solely. Okay, solely my opinion. Whatever they're doing it. They're not gonna stop. The rest of the year, we all need to keep our head on a swivel. Coordinated attacks, mass shootings, the poisoning of your water, some type of mass grid event. We don't know. We don't know. Keep your head on a swivel, people. I don't care what you believe anymore. You can think I'm completely out of my mind, but what I can tell you now is everyone needs to keep their head on a swivel. Keep your head on a swivel from here on out, because we've never seen anything like this, not since maybe 9/11, and that was one singular event that day. See, what we're dealing with in the last 8 years is a clusterfuck of events that all match these separate agendas that we keep hearing about. They keep matching the Freemasons' ideas on World War III via Albert Pike, all right? There's so much going on that almost mimics what we're watching and we've been reading. I can only tell you from my understanding and research that this is going. Ryan Wesley Routh, guys, that's his name. You see it? You guys find your information on it. Put it all in my inbox, guys. All right? So whatever's going on, this is real. I don't care I don't care about anything anymore. I'm telling you guys the truth. We are in trouble as citizens of this country, because it's coming. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you what it is, but I know it's here. I know there are things going on that we don't clearly understand. Like, I don't have all the information on what's really going on. I get the same amount of information y'all are researching on a daily. I can't tell you what side it is. I can't tell you who at the table was really trying to do this. Could it be the left? Sure. Would it be the left's first time? No. Would it be the right's first time? No. We know when it happened to Kennedy, there was a sure understanding on both sides that it was going to happen. While the notion out in the open that no one knew, that's not entirely true. All right? You guys got to understand, whatever's going to happen, whoever you put in this office come November and January when they get sworn in, it does not matter. The only thing I'm calling for with the people is to stop playing this game now. Absolutely stop playing it. Stand up. Stop. Just stop. Because it's coming hot and quick. Hot and ready like a little Caesar. Whatever's happening, it is here. It is in full-fledged motion. Whether it's Agenda 2030, the Great Reset of the World Economic Forum, we're at the tail end of Agenda 21 anyway. We're at the tail end. So whatever's going on, we are here. Store your water, store your food. If you got ham radios, get you some ham radios. If you got generators and battery packs, charge them, put them away. You got Faraday bags, put your items in Faraday bags. We have no idea what's coming. We have no idea. We've had cyber attacks. We've had 911 outages this year. We've been dealing with a lot of stuff this year. And in the history of America, there's been a lot of events that people do not want to talk about. Whatever is going on is reaching the season finale soon. And it's been going on for some time. All right. This is not a new phenomenon to mention the deep state like the way we've been mentioning the deep state. See, 20, 30 years ago, the deep state was just what it was. Conspiracy. 20 years before, people had an idea that there was something wrong. And 20 years before that, they still understood something was wrong. See, after World War II, the world was never the same. And everyone who had been involved in World War II, if you go through and you listen to their philosophies and their theories about what happened in World War II, you're going to notice a very unsettling pattern that they all think they defeated the wrong person. And this is not me saying anything about the angry little mustache man. I'm not saying he was right. I'm not saying anything like that. What I'm saying that it came out General Patton's mouth also. It also came out Robert Welch's mouth too. It came out a lot of people's mouths that we may have went after the wrong person or we missed it and we basically gave up the country. If you go back 100 years around the time of the Titanic, there are news articles saying that the millionaires sold the country to billionaires. And this is this is like 100 years ago. This is about around the time the Federal Reserve reared its ugly little head. All right. And if you want to track the money, go find the Federal Reserve. Find out what they're up to, because whatever's going on, we can't deny it no more. We can't sit here and act like this just isn't real. No one can sit here anymore and keep denying this. And anybody on the left applauding this, you are sick in the head for this. Because I know I have heard the conversations amongst people on the lower level. People are asking for this. If you are one of those people who are applauding this, you are the problem with America right now. Because when this shit hits the fan, and it is gonna hit the fan, that part I'm very sure of. It is gonna hit the fan. When it does, I hope you have that same exact energy, right and left. For anyone calling violence right now, I hope you have that same exact energy the day they decide to get ignorant with us. That's all I'm gonna say, because whatever's going on stems from those first two world wars. The last 100 years has been extremely strange if you really paid attention. The little mustache man said it. In 100 years, the world will know I was right. Thank you for that, Chris. I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying that. I do not agree with angry little mustache man. But if you go back and you really dig into what was going on, you're going to notice some similarities between them and us right now. And I'm telling you, it was not pleasant when it hit the fan out there. It will not be pleasant because Americans are not built like that. We are comfortable people. We have hired the military to handle our problems for us. This is why we're in this situation, because we got so comfortable that all they had to do was bread and circus us to death and we would be okay. And long as we thought that our votes matter, we would not say anything. But that was not the case over the last 100 years. The last 100 years in America have been probably the greatest conspiracy known to man. This right now that we're dealing with is probably the greatest conspiracy right now. And the fact that the conspiracy is that there is a small group of elite running the world with the premise that they were going to enslave it into the new world order. Think about that. You look on your dollar, it has the words on there regarding the new world order. When you look at your money, the message is there. When you watch the news, you can tell they're trying to get you set up for something. The last 100 years, whatever's gone on, it's been here the whole time. Today, I want to go ahead and safely say that the deep state is clearly running this right now. This thing exists. This shooter does not make the deep state less or more. This just means that either Americans are that unhinged or the deep state had another Manchurian candidate and they're really trying. The fact that they cannot hit this man says a lot. We're gonna find out more about this guy, and once we do, we'll go from there. All right, but we just don't understand what we're really dealing with. These people are in control of everything. The farming, your water, your electricity, and that's a whole farce. We're over here paying for free electricity right now. Not gonna get into that conversation. There is something that's come out in tabloids, very hidden and suppressed, that they're running on free energy and charging us for it. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay? Now, I'm gonna get ready and go back to this gentleman talking. I'm trying to like bounce around with the coverage in myself, all right? Here you go.
And then, of course, your local law enforcement quickly assessing. FBI is the investigative agency that would handle the investigation. And so, as I know, the press conference was put in place pretty quick, and probably as a result of the slower response to what we saw on July 13th. And so, you know, law enforcement is learning and putting into practice. But at the same time, as the social media accounts, official accounts, were putting out, the Secret Service is addressing what I believe was a protective incident. I thought those were interesting words when I saw them. A protective incident, as opposed to a shooting in the vicinity of the former president, and are evaluating the circumstances. So, to the Secret Service, they knew immediately, because that information came right from the Secret Service communicating to the very team that's surrounding former President Trump to remove him, that there are shots fired, and this is so there was, I take it, there was no lack of communication or misunderstanding within the Secret Service circles. And then, of course, your 911 calls that might have been coming out from surrounding witnesses, whatnot, they don't know what's happening, but Secret Service did. And then there is a protocol in place when they know that this is a direct threat not only to the former president, but also to the Secret Service agents that are protecting him. They are equally in danger. And so they are federal officers, and the FBI would have equal jurisdiction for a threat against a federal officer, no less than that of an assassination attempt against former President Trump. So that's and in regards to the press conference that was put in place, I believe that the FBI, being that they're going to have lead jurisdiction, also wanted to be present, and so thereby wherever the special agent in charge was, he needed to get there, and so that's why you probably had your delay, because it was a great coordinated effort of the sheriff and of course Secret Service, the district attorney, and then of course the FBI. So I saw some great collaboration there, and so even though it seemed like it was a bit of time, they wanted to ensure that they have the right representatives, that they were responding, and provide very simple, succinct information, but at the same time not compromising, because now you have somebody in custody, somebody who potentially could be interviewed talking to law enforcement. And so thereby it's very important that they don't provide anything that could be of a jeopardy to the investigation. For example, is it possible that that you have a co-conspirator or somebody that could get rid of evidence? So it's very important in that regard to safeguard the investigation as this is still rapidly unfolding.
Speaking a little bit more about the investigation, the FBI's involvement going forward, a couple of pieces of evidence recovered from this scene today. I want to pull up a photo that was provided by the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office there. So you can see the weapon that was used. You see the backpack. There's a GoPro hanging there. All things that are going to be very useful, of course, going forward to try to really hone down what happened, the motive, and everything concerning that. What else is the FBI going to be scoping through? Are they going to be going digital, perhaps? How deeply are they digging into the background and the personal life of this suspect? What are the steps?
Yeah, so let's take out that perhaps. They are absolutely going through his digital media and any device that he may have in his possession. Not only what is possibly in those backpacks. So I did hear a GoPro, some tiles, which is confusing to me, and then of course his weapon. How much ammunition, what phones or anything else that might be in those bags. Of course, what is on his person and in that vehicle, which will be, as I heard, a search warrant. They're going to pull out all the stops on this, and I can guarantee there's already an assistant U.S. attorney who's dedicated to ensuring that whatever search warrants, whatever subpoenas, whatever preservation letters have to go out, they are being done. And not to mention, as always, where did this individual come from? Where does this individual live? Who does this person know? All those things are in play. So you probably will have several different field offices encompassing interviews. So, for example, if this person is not of Florida and was heading back to wherever this person resides, the FBI is probably already on the doorsteps, if not inside the house. And then, of course, what is on that person's phone? So, if the suspect had a phone on him, or however many phones, who was that person in contact with, if anybody? Is this another lone wolf, or is this somebody who was in concert with somebody else? And so thereby, the FBI has to determine those identities and ensure those people, if complicit, are quickly brought into custody. So it's an extensive investigation, and I can tell you no stone is going to be left unturned.
All right. Coming back. All right. So listen, right? So, you see the AK style rifle, you see the ceramic plates. If anyone doesn't know what ceramic plates are, it's a kind of bulletproof plate that you put in your carrier now. It's a lot lighter. It could take multiple hits from larger rounds, all right? Doesn't say much. You can get those anywhere on the internet. You can get the rifle he got anywhere on the internet. You can get that from your local pawn store. It does not mean that this gentleman is working for someone or he is working for someone. This is just the information we have right now. And the information that we're getting is going to be very, very weak until they get more. Now, my fear in all of this is because I understand how the sheep mentality works. You're gonna get something, some type of vigilante thing happen. I'm just gonna call a spade, and see. We as the people should stop playing into this, like that Aurora, Colorado, when they said we're calling all the bikers to go to Colorado. You remember where else they did that? They did that at Eagle Pass, Texas. They said they were gonna call all the truckers to go down to Eagle Pass, Texas. Okay? Are you guys noticing the trends here? When an event happens, Americans call on themselves, and then someone goes down there, and then we don't hear nothing else. It's a pattern and a habit that we keep doing. So it seems like to me, someone is stirring our pot for us. That's just how I'm taking this right now. I won't sit here and say who's doing it. If it's the Democrats, is it some little proxy group? There's plenty of proxy groups in America to guess from. What I'm saying is that these events are being ramped up. We all say it. I ain't gonna say because I am not the only one saying this. Understand that I'm not like some big alternative media. I'm not Candace Owens. I'm not Dan Bongino. I'm not Sean Ryan, Joe Rogan, Alex Jones. I'm not any of that. I am a common American reporting this. That's all I'm doing. I'm a common American who has really good critical thinking skills. What I'm telling you now is there is something clearly wrong right now. Clearly there's something wrong. Whatever it is not going to end well. It is not supposed to end well. All I can tell you now is get your equipment, get whatever you need to get. Get whatever you need to get. Because the day your car stops working, we're going to be in a world of trouble. The day the lights don't come back on, we're going to be in a world of trouble. All right? I see my guy McCabe in there sharing information. He's sharing a link. I think they have a picture of the shooter right now. All right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this link and I'm going to pop it into my DuckDuckGo, and we're going to see what pulls out of it. Thanks, Steve. I'm not selling myself short. I'm saying I don't have any money coming in. There's no hidden agenda. There's no, where's his money going? Why is his traffic so good? Listen, my traffic just got good 2 weeks ago. People, I've been on a whole 1.5 year ban on Facebook. So I'm telling you now, I am not liked by most platforms. I'm not even gonna sit here and sugarcoat that. They do not like me like that. So right now, we're going to see if there's some type of image of the shooter. Oh my God, what am I doing? There we go. All right, we got picture. We have picture. We have something. All right, I'm gonna switch over this screen real quick. All right, we're working with something. We're working with something. All right, let me get this link. Bam. We're gonna move on over. I'm gonna pull up another window for you guys. All right, we have Ryan Wesley Routh right now. Authorities have identified the man arrested Sunday in connection with the second assassination attempt on former President Trump. According to Fox News, citing two law enforcement sources, Ryan Wesley Routh, 58, was taken into custody by the Martin County Sheriff's Office after fleeing the scene. Everybody, this is officially the shooter of the assassination attempt. All right. We have another angry white man, Priebus. All right. In America, the angry white man, just like the angry black man, is a thing that they like to push. See, the angry white man does the anti-government shit, is the thought process, but that's not true. I know a lot of great white people. I love you all. I love everyone that loves me. Now, if you're an asshole, then sure, no one likes you, like George Zimmerman. Can't really stand that guy. But I don't have a problem with anyone. But see, the narrative right now, look at all your shooters. Now, there are black shooters. We're not saying there's not, because in Philadelphia, I want to say last year at a 4th of July event, it was a trans shooter. All right? Black person. This is in Philadelphia. Maybe 2 years ago. I might be off on that. I feel like that was last year. So, there is no official race to shooters. That's just a narrative they play with y'all. Stop falling for that. Right now, this is the gentleman that we're all looking at. All right? This is, what's his name? Ryan Wesley Routh. You always get their full name when they're mass shooters. When they take a shot at the president, they want you to remember the name. So they're always going to give you first, middle, and last. Lee Harvey Oswald, John Wilkes Booth, the dude that did it in Pennsylvania. I already forgot his name because we got Ryan Wesley Routh here now. See how fast you forget the last shooter's name? Because we got a new shooter. So when you go look up the last shooter, you're going to get this shooter. Just like when you go look up the Rainbow Coalition from the 60s and 70s that was on that kind of time, guess what Rainbow Coalition you're going to find now? It ain't the same one. When you go look up the Black Panthers of the 70s, 60s, and 70s, guess what you're going to find? T'Challa. You're not going to find that. See, that's how you can destroy history, is that through culture. And right now, we can't tell the difference of what's real and what's fake because all the information we're getting is horse shit. It's complete horse shit. Complete. It's surgically placed stories in our books that don't explain who or how it really started. We have more false flags in our history than we do actual history. So when we're talking about 2024 and all these dumbass agendas that I swear to God y'all keep focusing on Project 2025, stop focusing on the stuff they give you and focus on the stuff they're not telling you. Like, think about it. Think about it. We believe the stuff they gave us, and that shit ain't the whole truth. None of it. But everything we go find out on our own, they call us conspiracy theorists. They call us crazy. They don't call us liars, though. They don't do that. They'll say fake news, disinformation, misinformation, but they are not going to sit here and say it was a lie. I guarantee it. How do I know? Trump called Kamala a Marxist. She did not deny it. She didn't even deny it. Why would you let someone call you that? If someone called me a racist, I would be like, no, I'm not a racist. I would deny it because I'm not a racist. Come on, man. They can call you a lot of things, but they won't call you a liar. They'll say fake news, misinformation, but when you can pull up pieces of history that are factual and they still deny it, that has nothing to do with you other than controlling a narrative. And right now in America, our narrative is that we want a conflict. See, we've never actually had this happen, full-on, full-blown conflict in American cities. We did in different ways, but not citizen on citizen. And I'm not including the gangs on this because they're a victim of the system itself. See, the gangs were once these little establishment proxy groups that were there to protect their neighborhoods. What they are now are just rabid dogs with weapons and colors. We have never seen modern civil war inside of America. We've seen gangs versus the police, which is the closest thing that we got to civil war, quote unquote, a form of it. The war on drugs is not what you think it is. I am one to believe we've been at war with our own government and we do not know it. We have no idea that we are in conflict with them right now. They know that there's a conflict between the two of us, but we don't know it. And subversion, propaganda, false flags, psyops is all part of warfare in any form. You can go back 200 years and you hear about the Battle of Waterloo and how they tricked people into thinking the markets had crashed or the market was gonna crash. No, what happened? The Battle of Waterloo I'm trying to remember. They tricked people into thinking that the war was won. People bought in, they tanked the market, everyone went bankrupt, and then they made everybody basically buy back their stocks. The Battle of Waterloo is one of the biggest financial robberies in history. One of them. There's been a lot of incidents that we as Americans were thinking that we weren't involved, like 9/11. Listen, they took out the Twin Towers. If you understood what the Twin Towers were, the two pillars of civilization or man, or the two pillars of the devil, whichever one you want to call that, I don't care. That wasn't a direct attack on us. That was the beginning of the attack, open attack on us. See, we didn't know no better and we handed all our rights over through the Patriot Act. We handed our rights over. So now, 23 years later, we're sitting here scratching our heads like, hey guys, I think we're in trouble. We've been in trouble for a long time. And they do it so quietly and so slowly because they learned if you do it all at once, you're going to force a revolution against it, and no one wants any problems with that. So what they do is they took their time with us, methodically, slowly, surgically, and they just started choking us out quietly. Food, mass surveillance, medicine, the war on drugs, AIDS, the 13th Amendment and mass incarceration and another form of slavery, the mass indoctrination of your children in school, the state taking over legal rights of your children while they're at school, okay? The subversion of your media through Operation Mockingbird and the repeal of the Smith-Monk Act. That was another way that they were able to put the propaganda in the psyops. Listen, we have been at conflict with whoever it is for the longest, and I am pretty convinced that at one point people knew this. Right now, not so much. Not so much. And I see what David said. No worries about a revolution. It's football season. Bread and circuses. Right. Anyone who's really in tune to football season is not paying attention to this. Listen, I like a little bread and circus. I like football. I coached it. That was my way of working in the community with young men and helping them develop better social skills. That was my means of coaching. I wasn't looking to get millions of dollars. I wanted to work in the school system and I wanted to coach football because that's where we need to start taking control of our youth and our teens and telling them how to conduct themselves out in the open. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm always reading a book. No, I like football, but I'm not naive. Like, I'm not finna sit here and act like it's not bread and circus. I'm not sitting up here happy that someone is shooting at this dude. That's not who I am. That shit's absolutely strange because whatever's going on, it's in full-fledged effect. Full motion. The migrants are here. They're still coming through. We've seen videos of migrants telling us, you do not know who we are, but I assure you, you will know my name. And that was the dude that came from Iran, alleged terrorist. They don't know where he's at. They don't know about 75% of the migrants are at right now. They have dropped these people off, and they're just all over the place. There are events going on right now around America that are being suppressed in the media. I'm catching some of it through Telegram. All right? I'm telling you now, there is something going on, and it's happening in real time. See, typically they just do little quiet events. Move. Stay quiet. Duck around the bush. No, they're not doing that no more. It's publicized. The revolution will be televised. See, they told you that because at the time the revolution was going to be televised. But see, what they're telling you now is that it's fake. The revolution will be televised. Look at the Palestinian protests. Look at the Free Israel protests. Look at all these protests going on in our country right now, in our cities. The revolution has been televised. But I tell you now, people, that is not the real that's not the real revolution. That is not the one that's going to matter to us. It does not have to be violent. It does not have to be ugly. It does not have to be anything of that nature. This is 5th generation warfare, people. Strap your boots up, figure out what's going on, because this is what 5th generation warfare looks like. This is all it is. They are trying to get us to go do something. Do not do it. Please, do not do it. Sure, if you have a Chechnyan spy standing outside your house taking pictures, by all means, handle business. If you are driving home one night and you notice this same car keeps following you, or you're noticing migrants in your yard, by all means, protect yourself. But what I am telling you right now is do not take your ass out there and try to be a vigilante, and do not do none of that. Don't you go out there, because you're going to play right into it. They have the executive orders in place for this. Martial law is real. They have everything in place. As soon as we get out of pocket the way they want us to, they're going to nix it. It's over. EOs go in place. Martial law goes in place. Game time. There's no coming back from that. There is no coming back. There's ways we can do this, just like they did in the 60s and the 70s. Not that peaceful protesting shit. That's not what I'm talking about. I read a passage in Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. The plan is to unite, create an S Corp, and then go sue the federal government with those people. See, the way they did it back then was it was small groups and they all came together, right? So what they did was, it wasn't just one group that filed a lawsuit. See, they all started filing lawsuits against the federal government, because you got to understand that the federal government is not a part of the Constitution per se. See, DC is its own entity. I keep explaining that to everybody, but people don't want to hear it. DC is its own entity. It has its own flag. It has its own constitution. It has the law of admiralty, maritime law, law of the sea, because they're damn pirates, privateers. We are going by the Constitution. They are going by something else. We, the people, would have to form a whole lot of proxy groups, S Corps, have our chairs, our president, all that, just like they do, and then file a lawsuit against them in the federal courts, and then go about it that way. See, what went wrong was that they knew that, they infiltrated them, tore them down culturally, and then they've been spanking all Americans since then. Bad baby, bad baby, bad baby. They spanking us. AIDS, the crack epidemic, the opiate pandemic, mass incarceration, all the stuff that I've named, they've done to us for the spanking of the one time Americans thought that they were going to rise up against the system, and they did. Filed motions in the Supreme Court against the federal government. This is why it played out the way it did. They don't explain that. But if you read Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky, I tell you, that's what they were doing. He says in the book, they were not flying other flags, they were not peacefully protesting, and they weren't burning flags. They united, created a corporation amongst themselves, and then they went before the federal Supreme Court, or not the federal Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court and the federal government, and laid out their lawsuit as to what was wrong. Okay? That's what happened. I don't care if you believe it. I don't care what's in the history books. This stuff has been written about for years and studied. There's plenty of case studies in the law sections that you guys can go look at. Create the groups, file the lawsuit against the country, file it against DC, because that's who's in control. That's where all of that is centered at. See, you can't file the motion in your state like that. You can try, but you have to present it through your state, and then it goes to the Supreme Court. You can't just do it in the state. You got to go after them. The Brunson brothers case is what I'm basically talking about. The Brunson brothers case, all right? Let's talk about the Brunson brothers right now. The Brunson brothers are doing the same exact thing right now. Where is my mouse? Where is my mouse? Give me a second. See, make sure I find the right one. The Brunson brothers have a lawsuit right now for the same exact reason that I'm speaking of. And the fact that no one's talking about this case right now blows my mind. So I had to pull up a quick summary. I don't know which one initially it is. It's a lot of them in here. So the Brunson brothers, the Brunson versus Adam case that challenges the failure of Congress to investigate disputed electoral college votes. Not the complete case, just a docketed piece of the case, all right? So the case itself is not alleging electoral fraud occurred in 2020 election, right? Just said that. Instead, they cite that the 147 members of Congress having their request to investigate after hundreds of affidavits alleging fraud denied signals that all other members defied their oath of office. In connection with this Brunson breach of duty argument, it should be noted that the last phrases of the House and Senate oath of office read that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. The remedy sought by the Brunson would result in a removal of all respondents from current positions and would bar them from holding public office ever again. All right, this is the Association of American Citizens, right? Here we are. So it is not purely about just electoral fraud. What they're saying is that everyone in the Congress and the Senate has violated their oath and should be removed. This is what I'm talking about. See, they got together and sued them. All right? United States Supreme Court. We as a whole can do this. We could do it individually or we could do it as a whole because we have the resource. We are the resource. They can't do nothing without us. If we stop right now because of this lawsuit that's going on, the government would shut down. There's nothing they could do because when a case like this is being presented, both parties cannot have any real communication. But see, the thing with us is that they are using something against us that we know nothing about. See, the Brunson brothers understood this, and I'm just learning a lot of this stuff myself. I am not some big time dude. I am a normal person learning like you. I've just been in my rabbit hole a long time and learning, and I decided to come out and talk to you all because of the Daily Rabbit Hole success. Had you guys never came to my page, I'd never be talking to you. So This case is going on right now. Our House, our elected officials are in a battle legally with citizens. How does Trump fit into this? That's the $1 million question. That is the $1 million question. How does he fit into all of this? I'm not sure. I say that he's still part of the deep state just because he checks off my box. Billionaire, long family history. His family's from Germany. It's fucking self-explanatory at that. Secret societies, are they involved? He is part of the secret society, the Knights of the Malta, Chaos Agents. All right. He's a president, former president, standing and formerly sitting, 45th. 5-6 reasons why I assume that this gentleman's part of the deep state. Is he taking down the deep state? I could see that being a thing. Why? Because he's not the only group. He's not the only person at this table. I would think that all these families, these about 2,000 to 3,000 people are all in the same group. They are not excluded from infighting like we're not excluded from fighting each other. If you guys ever seen the movie John Wick, I use the reference the high table. The high table will assassinate each other for positions at the table. Everyone wants to be the president of the corporation so that they can solidify their lineage, make their little money while they're in, and then it's like being solidified in the deep state's corporation. And you'll forever be remembered in history because that's what we're doing. We're keeping records on everything that matters to them and not to us. All right. This is not being talked about. This might be the most important case in the Supreme Court right now. And the fact that Trump does not mention the Brunson brothers often is strange to me. For someone who has an issue with the deep state, this should be the conversation. All right? I'm going to read a little bit more of this. Again, I'm going to read the beginning. I want to read that middle part. I want to say that middle part out loud. A historic case has been docketed by the United States Supreme Court. Case number 22380, titled Brunson versus Adams, has reached the highest court in land by a writ certiorari. Legalese, guys, I don't speak it. From the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals. The petitioner of the case, Raylan J. Brunson, is suing 388 federal officers, including Vice President Mike Pence, President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, for violating their oaths of office, where they swore to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. Brunson claims that their refusal to investigate an alleged attack, voter fraud on the Constitution of January 6, 2021, violated their oaths that they swore just one day prior as they were as members of the 117th Congress. This case right now is being hidden. This case is still active. This is what we're all talking about. This is what I'm talking about. One person with a group of people and some pushing money behind them are basically suing the United States government. You can do that. You need money to go to war with them, but you can do that. This is what I'm talking about. If we, the people, understand what is going on around us, it makes for getting around it a lot better. It does make it a lot better. Right? At least you know what's going on. At least you know why you can't go to work today, because you're suing the federal government. There's a lawsuit going on right now. All activities should cease, technically. They should actually have a continuity resolution typed up to keep the government going while the actual lawsuit is going. See, that's the part that they're not talking about. Because the government itself cannot fulfill contracts under a lawsuit with the people. The government cannot do anything with us if there's a federal lawsuit through the Supreme Court. See, these are things they're not talking about. And I just learned this stuff too. I swear, I try to learn as much as I can and understand what's going on. But when you see stuff like this is what we're talking about, that our elected officials are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Think about it. This isn't the first time this has happened. This is the first time we're going to see the case play out, though. See, we didn't really understand, because one, I wasn't around in the 70s. I wasn't born yet. I didn't see anything. I had to go learn all of this stuff and then unlearn what I was told. There is a full-fledged Supreme Court case against our elected officials and everyone else in office. Understand, 147 members of Congress. $388 federal officers. There's something going on. January 6th, I don't know what to tell you. Could that be what they were doing in there in that day? Was it the Brunson case that they were talking about? Just think about it. Was that being brought up that day? And then all of a sudden, they let all those people in, purposely let them in, and then they started, rioting and tearing up shit and pissing on everything and touching stuff, the shaman and all that. All these people have gotten some type of FaceTime with Tucker Carlson. They've gotten money. They've gotten all of this. But there are reports right now circulating that those people who have been harshly punished are now about to either get reduced sentences or they're getting their sentences wiped out. See, when I first saw this incident, I kind of slightly took it as face value because I didn't really know better at this point. I couldn't tell if it was real or not. But looking through all the evidence since then, like, they've already started saying that this shit was a sham. They've showed the videos of the officers letting out the people, like taking them out of handcuffs and pushing them back out. I'm not saying people did get harmed in this event. I'm not saying that. I'm saying false flags don't care who loses their life. It only makes the false flag solidified if someone dies or gets injured. So now, if you question it, people are like, how dare you? That doesn't make it less of a false flag. All right? There's too much going on right now. Right? We're going to finish this little article real quick. All right? A significant number of Americans believe the result of the 2020 elections were impacted by unethical activity, which is not the first time. This should have been written in 2001 when Florida lost all the damn votes because apparently you can have family running in seats. You have Bush Jr. as the governor. Jeb Bush as the governor, Bush Jr. as the president. Dad was former president, CIA, and vice president. Like, come on, guys. Like, I don't know how much I can keep painting this picture out, but hold on. Those in this camp are told their beliefs have been debunked, but in order for something to be debunked, they must have been proven untrue. However, these allegations were not actually debunked, but instead ignored and dismissed, which is precisely what this case seeks to address. The 147 members who objected to the results cited concerns brought by constituents and legal questions that have been raised about the state's election process. Despite this, the vote was certified without investigation. Senator Ted Cruz had proposed a 10-day audit of the election in contested states to investigate claims. In support of this proposal, Senator Cruz noted that the most direct precedent on this question arose in 1877, following serious allegations of fraud and illegal conduct in the Hayes-Tilden presidential race, specifically the elections in 3 states. Florida, Louisiana, and South Carolina were alleged to have been conducted illegally. Sounds like Arizona, Colorado. Who else was in there? Feel like Florida might have been in there too. There was a couple people that were basically hit with, election fraud in the state. I don't really know a way to put that. In 1877, Congress did not ignore those allegations, nor did the media simply dismiss those raising them as radicals trying to undermine democracy. We live in a constitutional republic. Instead, Congress appointed an electoral commission consisting of 5 senators, 5 House members, and 5 Supreme Court justices to consider to resolve the disputed returns. We should follow that precedent. But, you know, in other news that's tied into this, there's a new Jan 6 committee or security, whatever it's called. I'm not sure what exactly it is. So here it is. Homeland Security designates January 6th a national security special event. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell that means, but that's what it's going to be. All right. I got another article for you guys to look at that goes into this. Next year's January 6th election certification will get extra security to prevent another riot. You guys see the setup? This was September 12th, 2024. All right. In an effort to prevent another riot like the one on Jan 6, the Homeland Security Secretary has designated the congressional count and certification of the presidential election as a national special security event overseen by the Secret Service. Shouldn't it have always been that? Just me. Both political parties, national conventions, the presidential inauguration, and the UN General Assembly already have this designation, but it's the first time the Jan 6 vote count and certification have received it. You hear what I'm putting down? The Secret Service said Homeland Security Alexander Mayorkas made the designation following a request from the mayor of Washington, D.C. The move means that these are particularly high-profile events that might be targets for terrorists or criminals. Secret Service is in charge of running security for such events and a planning process that kicks off many months in advance. A steering committee for the Jan 6 certification has been formed and will begin meeting in the coming weeks, the Secret Service said. The goal is to improve planning and coordination, especially when it comes to pulling in resources across the federal government. So again, last time they did this, Trump told them to put people out there. They say Nancy Pelosi denied it. It's come out to be factual. All right. So now they want to go ahead, just in case they try to, listen, I was trying to avoid saying this. Someone's going to get screwed January 6th next year. If you guys believe that Trump is the savior, which I don't, I'm not going to sit here and play that game with you all. If you believe he's the savior, the ploy would be to screw him on that day. You catch what I'm putting down? Same thing he did last time. He went out there, made a speech. They say he riled up the people. I don't believe he riled up the people. I believe the people were riled up on their own and someone let them in. It takes organization to create chaos. I always say that. Okay? The screwing is going to come January 6th if we get to it. They're planning like we're going to get to it. A lot of people say the election isn't going to happen, but this whole tabloid, I feel like it's trying to tell us we're going to get through the election, guys. We're going to get through it. I'm going to be on that night. I'm going to be on. We're covering that. It's going to be a whole day event. I will be on all day. All right. Whatever's happening, it's going to go through all the way to next year. And then, like I've assumed, it's going to get bad from there. Whoever wins, it's going to go to shit. That's my honest opinion. I don't think you have to worry about, like, the election not going through. I think it's going to make it. I think this is how they're going to get y'all to go vote, is that they're pushing y'all with these events to scare y'all into voting. And I've already said that. Everyone right now in my community, I live within the black community, all right? Everyone within my community is Team Kamala for the most part. A lot of people think that there was a winner in those debates. That was not a winner. That was an interview as president for the deep state. That was not for us. That was for them. See, we keep thinking we're involved and we're not involved. In my community, black people have already made their mind that they're voting for Kamala. You have a group of black Trump supporters. And there's nothing wrong with being black and Republican, because if you know better, at one point, most people below the poverty line, black and white, were Republicans. The Southern Democrats were the ones we would call the KKK. This is factual. You can go look it up. I'm not going to argue with nobody about that. You can go look that up. Lincoln was a Northern Republican. He wasn't exactly a normal Republican. He wasn't really just so much for slaves as he was the financial system of America. But letting slaves free was not the whole plan. He had to do it, which also gets him shot. If you believe the whole story, that's why he's on the penny and his head's turning away, because he turned his back to everybody. A lot of people learned that they were on the wrong side at the last moment, and I think that was the same issue back then as is now. And if Trump was the right guy for the job, maybe Trump bit off more than he could chew. But I don't believe that either, because this man funded the Democratic Party during Bill Clinton's election. He donated to his campaign. Huge Clinton supporter. Also, he was on that. He's in pictures with Epstein. Take it how you wanna. You can say he had nothing to do with it. I don't care. If you are in a picture with Epstein, you are questioned. You are now questionable. I have to look at you differently. It's equivalent to being in a picture with R. Kelly. Sue me. Whatever's going on, it's at the high table, and we're just the pawns in the game on this chessboard. That's all I can give you on that. But there's something going on. There are lawsuits against the United States of America, the United States Incorporated. All right? This isn't the first time that someone's filed a lawsuit against their government. The Brunsons seem to be still alive, so apparently they haven't come for him yet. But whatever's happening with this whole Trump assassination is tied into this Brunson case. It's tied into this Homeland Security move for January 6th. This is who's actually a part of it. The Department of Homeland Security is the one heading this. People, do you know who runs the Department of Homeland Security? Alejandro Mayorkas. If you know anything about dual citizenship, I would go look into all the dual citizenships that the Department of Homeland Security has, and now you can figure out what the problem is. By no means am I talking about all those people. If you know, you know. I'm not going to go there. I'm on Facebook tonight, so I can't say what I want to. And had I been on Rumble solely, we be dropping all kinds of shit. But I can't say it because I'm not trying to get dinged. I just took my page out of a year and a half ban. I'm not trying to go back to being banned for a year and a half, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. That was the longest restriction I've had. And I've been on social media since MySpace. So whatever's happening, follow the breadcrumbs that I tell you. Look into the dual citizenship of most of your elected officials, into the Department of Homeland Security. Go see the wall that they keep touching on the West End. Go see all the support that they're giving to them, and you will understand what exactly is going on right now. All right? Let's get back to some of this, see if there's still some coverage going on. Get back over here. Just at a commercial break. So we still have the picture up, right? This is Ryan Wesley Routh, if you're tuning in, 58-year-old man who took the shots at President Trump at the golf course in West Palm Beach. All right. What we've been talking about for the last hour or so, 2 hours, is the fact that there is something eerily going on right now, and I need everyone to accept that there is something weird going on right now with the deep state, our elected officials, and even the Americans walking around right now, because everybody is not your friend. Everyone is not going to be part of this. The migrants are part of the Cloward-Piven strategy. We've talked about that so many times. We covered the Brunson versus Adams, which is the lawsuit in the Supreme Court against the United States government itself and the corporation. We've talked about a lot of things that could be tying into this. The biggest message that I'm trying to get out tonight is that I need everyone to take this seriously. Do not go out there and be vigilantes. Do not try to go out there and rally the troops. You will be infiltrated and they are going to arrest you. I'm going to add in a new term that I like to use called dynamic organization. That's another one you can go look up. Dynamic organization would help a lot of people right now. All right. We've talked about how in the 60s and 70s during the civil rights movement, the proxy groups that were having the problems with America filed a motion against America through their groups. Because if you ever paid attention, the Black Panthers had LLCs. The Crips and Bloods have LLCs. The Latin Kings are an S Corp. The Gangster Disciples are the first gang to go corporate. How do you do that? Well, you create an LLC, you tack on an S Corp or C Corp to it. That's how you go corporate. And then you elect your president, your CEO, and all of this. There's a reason why, what's his name? Not Hoover. I forget the gentleman's name who started the Gangster Disciples, but he is in Supermax prison in Colorado. Is it Larry Hoover? I think it is Hoover. I can't remember. Nonetheless, so whatever happened back then, we see the remnants of it now. So those gangs that we call gangs now were not gangs back 50, 60, 70 years ago. They weren't gangs. They were neighborhood groups who incorporated and sued the government. Yeah, go look into it. The Rainbow Coalition, all of this. Yes, go look into it. Just, you guys got to know these things. I'm going to refresh that page because it's been on pause. We're going to get back to some more coverage. I'm going to be back on. I got to take a quick bathroom break. Good, we got details now. Here you go.
What appears to be the barrel of a weapon and takes decisive action and opens fire. What you have here is where law enforcement did exactly what they were supposed to do. The coordination was excellent. We haven't, of course, heard all of the information. In fact, it's very, very, this information that we're getting right now is still, very, very light. We don't know anything about the identity. We don't know anything about the motivations of the suspect. But we have seen this. We have seen an incredible amount of divisiveness during this election period. I think probably than any I have ever seen in my lifetime.
Randy, let's talk a little bit more about the collaboration and coordination between several local law enforcement agents. So this incident happening in Palm Beach County, that's where the golf course is at, where Trump was golfing earlier today. The suspect caught in Martin County. We're talking about really strategic and effective communication between agencies there. Walk us through how that goes.
So we saw in the Pennsylvania attempt, we saw a breakdown of communications. And of course, that's being investigated now, and there's a great deal of attention being placed on that. It appears that during this particular incident, that the communication worked very, very well. Now remember that all of these police agencies and federal and state law enforcement agencies all have their own different radio frequencies. So making communication between all of these agencies is a challenge. The fact that this individual was spotted, agents fired upon him, clearly eliminated the threat to the former president. The individual tried to escape, and because of the excellent work of the law enforcement agencies in Florida, they captured him within a very short period of time. When you look at this, even at this cursory look, if you will, because we know so little about the situation as it unfolded, this appears to be a major win for law enforcement, Secret Service, Sheriff's Department, local law enforcement, all working in concert together to bring this situation to a successful conclusion which is that President Trump is safe and the bad guy is behind bars.
I want to speak a little bit about some of the challenges that local law enforcement agencies have when trying to provide that extra detail or that aid to Secret Service agents and Secret Service members when trying to protect someone like former President Trump. Talk to us about that. I mean, what kind of resources and tools do local law enforcement agencies have at their disposal that they would be able to aid in a certain event like this?
Well, when you have a planned event, as this was, President Trump doesn't go anywhere unless there is an advance team, unless there are plans made that coordinate between the Secret Service and other law enforcement agencies. We're not talking about anything spur of the moment. Let me go out and get some ice cream. Not happening. So you have a planned event. Well, that means that you have to do amazing coordination between all of the agencies involved. And there are agencies that we don't even know were involved. And so that requires an incredible amount of coordination. Now, local law enforcement, their primary mission is to enforce local laws and state laws. But you have jurisdictions that are rather large, as in this case with Palm Beach County and Martin County. They have personnel that are specially trained in SWAT tactics, in emergency management. And so this is nothing new to them. This is part of their responsibility, coordinating with the Secret Service and other agencies when there's a dignitary involved. So, this is not something that has not been done before. This is part and parcel of what the law enforcement function is. And that's cooperating with other agencies and giving your resources to them when it is necessary.
Randy, I also want to talk about maybe the dangers when it comes to apprehending a suspect that right now is being accused of an attempted assassination against a former president. I do have some footage here. This is a courtesy of the Martin County Sheriff's Office. Now, this is a picture of when finally law enforcement was able to catch up to the suspected vehicle and apprehend this suspect. What are the protocols in this situation?
Well, it doesn't get any more dangerous for the police officers who are making the car stop. Remember that the officers who are making the vehicle stop, they are the front line. They are the individuals who are literally facing gunfire every single day. We've had almost 300 police officers shot in the line of duty this year so far, which is an astounding number. We've seen the ambushes of more than 47 ambushes of local law enforcement and state law enforcement in the last year itself. So the officers who are called upon to make this vehicle stop are facing incredible danger, and they know it. And so they will. But remember this: that all of these officers are trained in making vehicle stops under felony conditions. Felony car stops, if you will, are part of the training of every law enforcement officer in America. But it all depends on how committed the individual is that you're stopping to determine whether or not that vehicle stop is going to go off with the arrest of the subject or it's going to end in a gunfight. And that is the danger that every single cop faces making a traffic stop, even if it's for a red light violation. But when you're talking about a situation like this, where the officers have been given information that there is a individual who was trying to kill the president of the United States, well, the heightened danger there is through the roof. And so you can bet that they were ready to take whatever action was necessary to take this individual into custody or to end the threat.
Randy, in respect to local law enforcement and the officers there, we know that the FBI is now taking over this investigation. How involved is the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and the Martin County Sheriff's Office going to be going forward?
So as far as the prosecution of this individual, this will be a federal crime. The FBI will be the lead agency. The United States Attorney's Office and the Department of Justice will be the agency that prosecutes him. Local law enforcement their function was to make the vehicle stop, make the arrest, and then complete whatever reports are needed in order to provide the continuity for the prosecution. So, the criminal justice system is just that, a system. The law enforcement component makes the arrest, provides the probable cause to the prosecution. In this case, the prosecution would be the U.S. Attorney's Office. It's then their job to put the criminal case together, to bring forth the prosecution, and then it's the judiciary, in this case it will be a federal judiciary, will try the individual and then sentence him. So the system has to work together, and all of the different components, state, local, and federal system, all of these agencies have to coordinate to create a prosecution where this individual will be brought to justice.
You know, Randy, we always invite you to come on to really offer that perspective when it comes to these local law enforcement agencies and how they really are there to protect the wider public, but they also do step in when these larger incidents do occur. Is there anything that you would like to add before I let you go?
Well, the only thing I would like to add is that the number of law enforcement officers shot and being physically injured in the line of duty is absolutely almost to the point where even I can't believe it. And I've been in this law enforcement community for more than 40 years. But the dangers that are facing these officers every single day, whether they are working with their federal partners in a situation like this, or they're even simply making vehicle stops or pedestrian.
All right, I'm back. I ain't even gonna lie. I had to go make a plate. Why am I eating while y'all are online? Because I'm already here. And we're over here coverage right now. So, information's out. The gentleman was able to get up on the golf course. He was roughly 300 to 500 yards out. Now, there are witnesses. People say that they did, take the pictures of the license plate. You are getting that report. Now, it's kind of obvious seeing someone in a tree line with a gun, especially in West Palm Beach, in that section of West Palm Beach. West Palm Beach can be a little rough in certain areas, but not that particular area. All right. Now, if you're just coming back or you're coming on and you're on the Daily Rabbit Hole, we've been on here going on 2 hours. We've talked about the Brunson case. We've talked about what we assume to be going on. We are admitting tonight, for the rest of the world, you guys better start taking this deep state thing very serious. Without a doubt. You have no choice now. This is not normal. Nothing that's going on is normal. The debates weren't normal. Nothing was normal. The way Kamala got into the seat for running for president is not normal. There was no vote. They just put her in there. Okay? There was no debates. There was no vote. Same thing with the Republicans. They just basically said it's Trump. The Dems said it's Kamala. Right now, you see all the tabloids about the migrants eating cats and dogs and ducks and chickens. You see the jokes. Springfield, Ohio, Silicaca, Alabama, Coleman, Alabama, Aurora, Colorado, Chicago, New York. These are all places that are having some type of issue with migrants right now. Now, the same places that I'm naming are heavy deep state battlegrounds too. Colorado, Chicago, New York, California, Texas, even Alabama. A lot of people think Alabama's just a lonely racist state, but there's a lot of stuff to go on inside this state no one's talking about. That's another conversation for another day. But what I'm saying is that what you're watching is an orchestrated event. To some extent, maybe all of it. And this isn't saying that I really do think that it's all scripted. I just think that when you have that much money and control and power, you can orchestrate events. You can make things happen. You can push the thermometer higher than it needs to go because you have the resource and the control to do it. All right? Always remember, Most of our events was because of gross negligence. Think about it. You just so happened to let it happen. Before 9/11 happened, was there or was there not a video about $2.3 trillion going missing, $2 trillion going missing? And then all of a sudden 9/11 happened. Well, we speed up this year, they come out again, and guess what happened with the Department of Defense and the Pentagon? They did an audit, and guess what they can't find? 2-point-something trillion dollars. So this only means if history is going to repeat itself, we're about to get another historic event that's going to happen. And I've always told you guys, me personally, I think mass coordinated events, Project Blackjack. Just my opinion. So, hold on. Rice and gravy, Salisbury steak, some turnip greens, some cornbread. Yeah, good eating right now. Good eating. But what I'm thinking right now is because we're having our events play out the way they're playing out, I'm pretty convinced that we're about to see a big event, some type of attack, some type of terrorist movement, some type of coordinated attack. I always say Project Blackjack. Predictive programming was a comic strip used as a test theory in a UK newspaper. I think it was the Independent or the Telegraph, where they fake a mock simulation, right? They do a mock simulation in the newspaper about global events and like the New World Order and basically civil war, mass coordinated attacks happen around the world, Mexico, UK, America. I don't think anything happened in Australia. All right. So me personally, my head's on a swivel right now just because of all the information and research I've done and what it seems to be pointing at. Always remember, they gave them satellite phones. And yeah, that's kind of normal, but it's not normal anymore. Like, they have some type of continuity if the government go down, sure. They got to talk to each other, sure. But something about this seems off now. Just like we talk about the Starlink system, low Earth orbiting satellites, or the LEO system, is Operation Blackjack. There's Project Blackjack and there's Operation Blackjack. It's they're closely tied to each other, but not. Right? The satellite phones are going to connect to the low Earth orbiting satellites. So we think satellites are way out in the sky and they're floating around, and it's NASA. Why you always lying? NASA, right? Satellites are actually hanging on to those balloons that you saw floating around a couple years ago. That's what the most of your satellites and your LEOs are hanging on to. What you were seeing back then was probably a low orbiting satellite, still used to take in information and spy. Nothing changes about that. All satellites have that capability. So you guys got to understand right now, there's something going on. What it is, we don't know. But we got a good idea. It's involving these people that keep popping up on my screen. Tim Walz and Kamala and Trump and Vance. All these people. We talked about the Brunson brothers and their lawsuit at the Supreme Court against all the elected officials and asking them to resign for violating their oath of office. All right. We've talked about the continued predictive programming and what they're trying to get us to do. Right? They want us to make a conflict happen so that they can pull the martial law or the executive orders, and the UN comes in and they get their new world order. I don't think it's going to happen that easily. I think it's going to be a series of events. Like I've always said, I don't think it's just going to be one event and then we go from there. It's never one event. So that's something we got to understand. What I've been saying to all of you is this. Please don't go out there and get crazy. Please don't go out here and try to be vigilantes. You have all the right to protect yourself and your family and your items. But please do not go out here trying to be street walking vigilante group. You're making the situation worse. And while I already know it's already happening, I would like to just reach out to the ones who understand what I'm saying. Don't go out there trying to get crazy. It's already going on. There are already little groups in America looking to do something. I'm not going to make this up. I've talked about militias and the idea that eventually there's going to be a conflict between them and the U.S. government. At this point, they would like the conflict to be us against the migrants. But I don't think they're going to get that. See, they're going to have to fake an event. And I always hate to do that. Like, you know, in history, a lot of towns and a lot of things that have happened in history have been because some little girl was attacked, quote unquote, story. And then the town gets their fire and their shotguns and their little tiki torches, and they're going to go burn some stuff down. That's typically how things have passed in history with social events like that, where someone makes a claim that someone was attacked or harmed or raped or anything like that, and then they go on to say, well, we're going to go to that town and burn it down, i.e. Tulsa, Black Wall Street, Rosewood. French Revolution kind of had one of those situations involved in it. Something to think about. Every time they do that, just like when you go to the UK and Ireland, what do you hear? One of the migrants attacked a young girl or a young man, and now those people are going into those migrant camps and tearing shit up. That's always the way to get someone involved, is when a child is attacked. Women and children are supposed to be off limits. That's a lie for us. They want us to not target them, but our women and children are fine. You can traffic our women and children. You can do all of that stuff. So it's just one of those things. When they say women and children should be off limits, they're talking about theirs, not ours. To us, our women and children should be off limits at all times. But the world we live in, that's not what we're about to get. Unfortunately, the times we're living in right now are very, very trivial. They need us to react so badly. Only thing I can tell y'all is, if you want to win this fight, you better hit them pockets. You want to win this battle? You want to win whatever it is that you want your freedom, and you want them to back up off of us, you better hit the pockets that matter. How do you hit the pockets that matter? You can stop going to work. You can stop buying certain things. You can not pay your bills. Apparently, that's what they're doing in Canada right now. That's why, you know, Canada has been really quiet lately. Apparently in Canada, sections of, I think it's Ontario and maybe another part of Canada, have stopped paying bills because they can't afford it. Now it puts pressure on the services to actually do something about it now. There's no money being made because, you know, most of your utilities are privately owned, usually by a family. Don't ask me how I found that out. Yeah, sure, they got a board and all that, but someone still owns them. So it looks like they're live right now in the area. It's nightfall. Of course, you see the media out there. This is where the gentleman was sitting at right now. At the time when it was going on, this is where he was at. He was in that tree line or bush line set up. He had 2 ceramic plates on both sides of him, so they couldn't hit him. Again, ceramic plates are just standard bulletproof plates. A lot more lighter than your standard steel. Take up to about 7.62 rounds. Some take up to 308 rounds. Just depends on who you buy it from and how strong it is. Most of them take up to 7.62. I think it's 5 hits. I have a pair of ceramic, I have a pair of steel, and I have soft armor. So, yeah. So right now, this is going to be the talk of the media for the next couple of days, at least a week. Whether they get some information out of this dude or he survives it is entirely on them. But to be entirely honest, we're not going to get told anything, but we're going to make it to the presidential election, though. I'm just going to let you know that. We're going to make it. Now, what happens after that? Couldn't tell you. But I will tell you this. in Project, I think it's Operation Blackjack. Excuse me, sorry. Operation Blackjack. The event that I'm talking about is going to transpire in multi places, in numerous places, more than one. Excuse me, I couldn't find a good word. Multiple. Yes. Multiple places. Where we go from there is somewhere in between Civil War and basically leave the world behind. That's kind of what that was. That's the funny part. Because in Operation Blackjack in the comic, they institute martial law, and then the president essentially is actually the one who caused the problem at the end of the story. And then Americans become free, which I know is complete horseshit. So, whatever's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. I just don't know when. I don't know how. I merely have my own ideas. So, here we are, covering this investigative assassination. I'm so over this. It's so ghetto. I'm so sick and tired of this shit. You know how stressful it is to cover the deep state 24/7? You know how stressful it is to read some of this information and realize your whole entire history is a lie? Everything. Everything from about 1492 till today is not what you think it is in this country. I don't know how the way to put that. I can just tell you need to go look into that. Now I'm finna go back over to some coverage and finish my plate naturally. And I'm gonna be right back.
All of that has been taken in by the FBI and is going to be examined to see what's going to...
Okay, so as you can see, parenting is not an exact science. Wait, looks like this doll had its wires crossed.
That's what we should have done. This was exhausting.
Alvin, did you mess with the wires?
Yes, but this was a fussy baby, Miss Smith. We got a bad baby.
Brittany, did you know about this?
Well, yes, but we'll pay for the damage.
Oh, I know. This is...
Hey. Sorry, guys. The Bluetooth for my kids' movie is paired to my whatchamacallit. Hold on.
But still, I think it's worth kind of rehashing this and re-racking it for our viewers who may just be joining now or who may have missed when we had played it earlier today. So again, this next, the presser from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and all the latest details we know on this investigation of the second attempted assassination of former President Trump.
Always talk about ahead of time. We are going to give you, when I say we have a representative from the FBI, from the Secret Service, from the State Attorney's Office. We are going to give you everything we have. Everything. All right? So when we get done, think about your questions, because we're not going to take a lot. And keep them to the information that you heard. Don't get into what ifs, and because of this, we're not going to go there. All right? So keep that in mind, and we'll be good. So here we go. All right. 1:30 this afternoon, call came out, shots fired. That was called in by the Secret Service. because we're in constant contact with them all the time, we were notified of that, and we had units here that immediately sealed off the area. Fortunately, we were able to locate a witness that came to us and said, hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes. He jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a picture of the vehicle and the tag, which was great. So we had that information. Our real-time crime center put it out to the license plate readers. And we were able to get a hit on that vehicle on I-95 as it was headed into Martin County. We got a hold of Martin County Sheriff's Office, alerted them, and they spotted the vehicle and pulled it over and detained the guy. After that, we took the the witness that witnessed the incident, flew him up there, and he identified as the person that he saw running out of the bushes and jumped into the car. Now, in the bushes where this guy was is a AK-47 style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks which were hung on the fence that had ceramic tile in them, and a GoPro, which he was going to take pictures of. So those are being processed right now. The Secret Service agent that was on the course did a fantastic job. What they do is they have an agent that jumps one hole ahead of time to where the president was at. And he was able to spot this rifle barrel sticking out of the fence and immediately engage that individual, at which time the individual took off. So that's what we know about the investigation. We have somebody in custody right now that is a potential suspect. We got a little bit more work to do on it, but as we usually do, as soon as we decide that we're gonna book him into the county jail and the charges that he's gonna be booked into, we'll get those to you and we'll get a picture of him and we'll get you his background. So now I'm gonna turn it over to the representative of the Secret Service, and he's gonna make a brief statement.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I first want to thank all of our law enforcement partners, to include the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office and the Martin County Sheriff's Office, for their involvement today. Former President Donald Trump is safe and unharmed following a protective incident shortly before 2 p.m. on Sunday at Trump International Golf Club at West Palm Beach. The U.S. Secret Service personnel opened fire on a gunman located near the property line, and this matter is under investigation. I'll turn it over to my partners over at the FBI.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Veltri. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI's Miami field office. The FBI has assumed the role as the lead federal law enforcement agency in the investigation of the incident that occurred earlier today at Trump International Golf Course here in West Palm Beach, Florida. We've deployed a number of resources, including investigative teams, crisis response team members, bomb technicians, and evidence response team members as well. What we need right now is for the public to avoid the area around the golf course. We will continue to support this investigation with the full resources of the FBI, alongside our partners with the United States Secret Service and the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office, as well as Martin County Sheriff's Office and state and local law enforcement. I would ask that if anyone has any information that may assist with this investigation, to contact our tip line at 1-800-CALL-FBI or at tips, that's TIPS .fbi.gov. Thank you.
David?
Hi, I'm Dave Ehrenberg, State Attorney for Palm Beach County. I want to thank Sheriff Bradshaw and our partners at the local, state, and federal levels. I'm here because our prosecutors are currently working up warrants and a motion for pretrial detention for the suspect. In that way, he will be kept in custody. But our filing of these warrants and charges at the state level does not preclude federal charges that could be coming. But in the meantime, it looks like the warrants and the pretrial detention motion will happen first. And again, I want to thank the cooperation we've had with our federal partners and at the local level. And thank you all for being here today.
Okay, we're going to make these pictures available to you. It'll show you a picture of the backpack and the rifle. And there's also a GoPro on the fence there where he was intent on filming what was going on. Even though we're going to have to secure a couple of areas around the golf course here, the public doesn't need to panic. We know that we got a post office, a library, and a school down the street. So we'll make it convenient for you to get to all the places you need to go, get your kids to school, get them over here to the post office or wherever else you need to go. It's safe, there's no more danger here, and we'll make it very convenient for you. So having said that, we're going to take a very limited amount of questions, and you can direct them to who you want to answer the question.
Sheriff, did this individual make any statements as he was being detained?
No statement right now as far as his involvement in the incident, and there's further investigation to be completed.
What was his demeanor like?
Yeah, I'm not sure if maybe the Secret Service gentleman can answer. I misunderstood, or I couldn't quite understand. So there was a rifle, so one of your agents saw, on the golf course, saw a rifle pointing to a fence. Was it a chain link? Okay, so he saw that, the agent?
That is correct, yes.
And the president or former president was on the course behind him. How close?
It was 1 or 2 holes behind. That because the bubble moves through the golf course, so our agents will get there first, clear it. He noticed that the rifle was pointed out. Our agents engaged. We are not sure right now if the individual was able to take a shot at our agents, but for sure our agents were able to engage with the subject. I don't know that.
Doesn't appear so.
Is there a motive?
Yep. Al?
How far away was the president? How far away was Donald Trump when this gentleman was caught and stopped?
I got it. Okay. Probably between 300 and 500 yards, but with a rifle and a scope like that, that's not a long distance.
For the Secret Service, how far was your agent from the would-be assailant?
That I'm not sure right now. We're still looking into that.
Reports of the 4 rounds of ammunition were fired. Were all 4 of those from your agent?
That is correct. 4 to 6. We're not sure yet.
Was there a long distance? Explaining why.
All right, guys. So that's just coverage earlier from the press briefing they had earlier with FBI and local authorities. Other one is the live footage that's going on right now. All right. Understand that this gentleman had a AK-47 rifle, at least 2 to 3 mags, and he had a scope on it. Very simple scope. Not like a huge gun expert here, but I know pretty much 300 to 500 rounds is in the AK's range. Now, was this gentleman capable of doing this as far as hitting something? Clearly not, because he got off 4 shots and still missed. So his aim weren't worth a shit, because if it was, he wouldn't have missed. Unless his job was to miss, and I know that's like contradictory of what I just said, but that's the deep state. It's a walking contradiction. Okay, so this gentleman, what is his name? What is it? I said it multiple times. Ryan Wesley Ralph. This is him. All right, that is the gentleman in custody as of now. I've been looking on my page while I was on that break. They're basically saying the gentleman is a Democrat. Okay? If you're listening to what I'm saying, if it is true, you're hearing it from me. Do not try to get crazy. Do not try to be a vigilante. Do not try to take on something you are not prepared to take on. All right? There are other ways to handle this. When it is time, when it is go time, I feel like we'll all know it's go time. It'll be nothing else to say because I won't be on here live with you probably. I may cover it. I may not cover it. I don't really know. I do know that censorship is going to be a thing once this really gets hot. So all I'm saying is for Americans to be smart and be wise and not to play into the hands of your puppeteers. Dance, puppet, dance. Don't do that. Please don't. We got enough going on with the migrant situation. Americans are ready to basically start firing off shots, and they already have in certain areas. It has not hit the fan yet. It hasn't hit the shit. Shit has not hit the fan. The fan is not full of shit. Say it in so many ways. It's not happened yet, but we are getting pushed into this situation and it's coming. All I can keep telling you guys is to make sure you got what you need. Make sure you have a plan. Make sure you have supplies. Make sure you pray to whoever it is you need to pray to, because the rest of this year is going to be a doozy. All right? It's not over. These events keep happening, and they're going to keep happening. There's no change in this. Whatever this agenda is that we're on right now, this is the agenda to restart it all. Whether you think it's Project 2025, that one's horse shit. Agenda 21, we're at the end of that one. And the Great Reset 25, pretty much going into that one. That leads us up to Agenda 2030, the Great Reset, sustainable goal development. All right? Which is smart cities, eating bugs, complete mass surveillance, chipping, all of the horrible things you've heard of. And this is also including transhumanism, the merge between AI and humans, or the robot, or the machine and man. Skynet, guys, Skynet. Just sum all this shit up. Skynet. Skynet, okay? It's funny because we watch these movies growing up and we're like, man, that's crazy. What if they did something like that? And shit, here we are. We're like, oh, that's not as cool anymore. It's actually kind of terrifying. You can pick a movie, man. Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson, Manchurian Candidate, Denzel Washington, Civil War, Leave the World Behind. They Live. There's plenty of movies that have talked about what this is. There's plenty of books out there that have talked about what this is. There are plenty of documentaries out there. There's plenty of literary readings and encyclopedias and stuff like that. Like, this stuff is out here. There is no way we should be caught with our pants down when they decide to go forward with whatever they're going to go forward with. Trump being shot at on 2 different occasions says one or two things. They fear him, or it's all part of the show. All part of the show. So I have that conversation that I was talking about with Thomas Massey, right? I talked about that. It's on my page. I'm going to show you the first couple minutes of this video so you can hear what he says and how he explains that this is really political theater from a policy standpoint. He's not talking about the situations that's transpiring. That's not what he's talking about. He's merely just stating that there's a lot of situations that aren't adding up. And how the left and the right are sitting here playing this game with the finances and the spending, and how with all this fighting and all this stuff going on, we still don't get anything accomplished. And quite frankly, it's getting old. All right? Now, sometimes you get lucky with a politician that actually speaks with some coherency and doesn't sound like a complete idiot. See if I can find it. I just downloaded it.
This is political theater. I'm going to call out both sides right here. Can we be honest with the American people about what's going on here? This is political theater. I'm going to call out both sides right here. It's all posturing. It's fake fighting. We all know where it ends up. This is Groundhog Day. I don't care if the Democrat is the speaker or Republican is the speaker. We always get a CR in September, and then we get an omnibus. Sometimes there's a twist on that. We might get the omnibus before Christmas, but if we're not good, it comes after Christmas. But that's what's going to happen. And in the meantime, it's political theater. You know, we've got some, it's good theater. We've got great writers. I wish they'd just come up with a new plot. It's the same plot every fiscal year. What should we be doing? It's already been discussed. We should have done 12 separate bills. We should have done 12 separate bills. But again, whether Democrats are in control or Republicans are in control, we never do the 12 separate bills. Why do we always spend at least as much as we did last year, and why do we never cut spending? It's because Democrats want to grow the welfare state, and Republicans want to grow the military-industrial complex. And we're eventually going to get together, and they're both going to go up. I guarantee it. And both parties are just fine letting the bureaucrats do their thing, which should be our thing, according to Article 1, Section 8 in the Constitution. We are empowered with these things. Most important of the things we do is the funding, and that's the big lever we have. You know, I've sat through now almost 2 years of hearings in this Congress where we've exposed lies at the CDC, shortcuts at the FDA, unconstitutional gun bans at the ATF, over-prosecution of January 6ers at the DOJ, targeting common citizens at the FBI, spying by the NSA, illegal mandates for livestock by the USDA, targeting plant vaccine or transgenic plant vaccine at the NSF, and censorship, the censorship industrial complex of which the NSF is part of, automobile kill switch at the DOT. Now, these are all things I think most Democrats are just fine with, this kind of totalitarian state that the bureaucrats are pushing on us. But Republicans at least pretend to be against these things. But what are we going to do this September? We're going to fund every freaking one of those things that we have exposed. That is the tool that we have.
We're going to fund every last one of the things we've exposed. Do you understand what this man just said? In spite of everything that we know is going wrong, we are still going to fund it. Kill switches in cars, they're going to fund that. Smart cities, they're going to fund that. Mass surveillance, they're going to fund it. The right plays like they're not going to fund it, but every year we end up in the same situation. And guess what time of the year it is this year? It's the fiscal year. Here we are. Every fiscal year, we go through the same thing. This man, Thomas Massey, just sat here and admitted at least 6 different conspiracies in one conversation. And it will still fall on deaf ears because people are going to be like, well, how do you know he's not playing the game? I don't know. But anyone who still opens their mouth and openly admits it, I'm not going to deny that. This man is telling you there is something wrong. This was 9/9/24. This is not last year. This ain't 20 years ago like the person in my comments under the migrant video was screaming, the video's 20 years ago. Camera quality was not that good 20 years ago on cell phones. That man is holding a damn cell phone in that video. Listen, people, stop being deaf, dumb, and blind. I'm going to play what he said again one more time at the part where it really matters. This little part that he's explaining about what they've already uncovered and exposed. Listen.
On letting the bureaucrats do their thing, which should be our thing, according to Article 1, Section 8 in the Constitution. We are empowered with these things. Most important of the things we do is the funding, and that's the big lever we have. You know, I've sat through now almost 2 years of hearings in this Congress where we've exposed lies at the CDC, shortcuts at the FDA, unconstitutional gun bans at the ATF, over-prosecution of January 6ers at the DOJ, targeting common citizens at the FBI, spying by the NSA, illegal mandates for livestock by the USDA, targeting plant vaccine or transgenic plant vaccine at the NSF, and censorship, the censorship industrial complex of which the NSF is part of, automobile kill switch at the DOT. Now, these are all things I think most Democrats are just fine with, this kind of totalitarian state that the bureaucrats are pushing on us. But Republicans at least pretend to be against these things. But what are we going to do this September? We're going to fund every freaking one of those things that we have exposed. That is the tool that we have, is the funding. Why are we funding things we don't like?
Why are we funding things we don't like? We've exposed all of the agencies, all of them, for doing wrong. They keep getting caught, and we keep funding them. And then the people who are deaf, dumb, and blind come right behind it. Well, I think we should fund it. This is not real. That's fake news. How? The man is sitting in the chair and said, we've uncovered all the lies from the CDC and the FDA. We know what they're doing. They proved Walmart, Walgreens, and CVS are part of the reason there was an opiate crisis. People, we are at war with our own elected officials. Constant lies, constant testing of eugenics and all this stuff on people, constant poisoning your water, constant poisoning your food, chemtrails. Why are your street lights emitting frequencies? Why are your light poles emitting frequencies? Why does your light pole have Wi-Fi? What's with the purple lights? These are all things I keep trying to explain to y'all, and it falls on the deaf, dumb, and blind every time. Y'all sit here and play this game like nothing is going on. There is absolutely something going on right now, and it is not working in our favor. I do not know how many times I have to keep saying it. It is not working in our favor. Every time we vote, it is a vote against your own self-interest. A vote for them is a vote for your own end. I don't know any other way to keep telling y'all this. I have showed you diagrams. We have talked about secret societies. We have sat here and talked about controlled opposition, false flags, cloud pivot strategy, mass chaos, order out of chaos. I can't keep telling y'all to stop trusting these people, and y'all keep trusting them. In any point in history in the last 100 years should have made you realize these people are not for us. I don't have to go back the last 6,000 years and explain how this is a satanic death cult marching around, created by a proxy of rich families and elitists and Zionists who believe that they can take the world and enslave us and do what they want to do. This is real. In the last 100 years, there is enough information that would make you question everything about your government. And that information is true. The true parts should be enough for us to be questioning everything about them. We should know by this point that we should not be voting left or right now. We need to understand, what are you doing? What are you doing? I know there's somebody watching this who clearly is either a controlled operation or opposition or a Fed, and they're recording this and they're documenting and trying to make sense of this and what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to explain is this. We understand that there is enough stuff in history that is actually true. There is no immediate reason for us to be trusting this government or our elected officials. Officially, there is no reason for us to be trusting them. I don't care if you don't believe I'm full of shit. The Tuskegee experiments happened. The Manhattan Project is true too. MK Ultra is also true. Chemtrails is true. HARP is real. 5G warfare is a real thing. The drug crisis or the war on drugs was started by Reagan for the Ira-Contra scandal. That is also true. Those alone would tell you not to trust these people. That alone, just that alone tells us we should not be trusting anyone in a suit, wasp-shaped glasses, because that's the serial killer's glasses. Anyone in DC, they're not for us. It ain't too many. You got Thomas Massey, maybe Mike Boss, representative out of North Carolina. You got the dude in Florida, black guy, I forget his name, but he seems like he's talking with some sense and not getting much traction, so that's usually a good sign. You talk with sense and you get no traction. If you talk incoherently and about nothing, but you have all the traction in the world, I consider you a problem. Kind of like Kamala has not said anything of real value, but has all the traction. She went on that debate and told people there are no active military duty in any wartime deployments. That is a whole lie. She got on there and said there are no active duty military in deployed wartime locations. That is complete horseshit. We just left Iraq. Like, we still have bases in Iraq that we're trying to get people out of. We have boots on ground in Ukraine. Do not listen to what they're telling you on the media. There are Americans in Ukraine and they are military. They are there. We have boots on ground in Israel right now. We were in Afghanistan for 20 years. You want us to believe we have no active duty in any wartime situations or deployments. That is complete horseshit. We are the wartime country. It's always wartime here. What the hell is she talking about? Listen, there is enough factual information out that should make you question everything about your leadership. Instead, we have the deaf, dumb, and blind. We have the right who, to some extent, understand exactly what I'm saying. We need to question everything, and they are, but their last hope is voting Trump. And this is for the last presidency, so they think this is the best that they're going to get. It does not mean that that is what's going to happen. They, in their patriotic hearts, they truly believe Trump is our last resort. And that's the worst thing about it. The fact that Trump is our last resort instead of us being the last resort says we are in a bad place right now. Whether that man was left or right, he was with Epstein, he's a president or former president, he is a part of the deep state. There is no other way for me to cut this. Once you put yourself in this arena, you are a part of the circus. The man was a president. Operation Warp Speed is still under him. Please, for the love of God, people, wake up. Stop playing the game. We are watching things happen that are not normal, and people are applauding it. That's where we're at right now. This is where we're at. This is not a pleasant place to be. So whatever transpires from here on out, I've said it numerous times, do not go out here and try to be a vigilante. Do not try to go out here and say you're holding up whatever. These people are playing a slanted game. They will do you and your family. And then they're going to get the media on their side to tell the story. You think that these people in Ohio are not eating cats? Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. They do not have any resources of their own. They have been used, they have been robbed, they have been trafficked, they've been everything. They once had rappers as ambassadors to their country. So you can only know how far that went. The Clinton Foundation, years later, comes out that there was human trafficking in Haiti after the big earthquake. Riddle me that. Listen, guys, whatever happens, do not comply. That's all. That's the safest thing that I can say to y'all. Whatever happens, do not comply. Do not. What we're watching right now is the destabilization of an empire, former empire. It's over. It's coming down, one card at a time. And we're at the bottom, and all the cards are going to fall on us, and it's going to be on us to pick those cards up, shuffle them together, and put that deck, and then deal them cards again. Do not let them deal the cards like we're in Vegas. We have to deal the cards the next time. If they deal us the cards again, we're going to get another weak hand, and we're going to be in the same situation that we've been in America for the last 100 years. And that's just being modest, because I haven't been around longer than 38 years. So I'm only going to give it 100. We are going through some things that are not natural, that are ungodly, very satanic, and quite frankly, the deaf, dumb, and blind are going to lead us to it. And I ain't talking about the actual deaf, dumb, and blind. Like people who are, I'm talking about the ones walking around here with their faces in their phones or in the clouds and thinking that we're still acting as a constitutional republic, or they think democracy works. I'm here to tell you that is a failed experiment. It is over. It is done. They will restart before they lose control. And they're losing control. We got to do better, because it's getting worse. It's going to get uglier. It's going to get quite shittier. For the life of me, I just can't understand why no one's really upset. Is it the notion that it doesn't affect you? Well, it's not affecting me. How? If someone tells you it's not affecting them, tell them to turn their tap water on and get it examined and see what's in there. No better than this plastic bottle and microplastics. For all I know, this could be tap water in here too. And I'm still drinking tap water anyway. Tell them to go check their fruit and see if there's any seeds in it. Ask them why all your trees in your city are male. Ask them why they're tracking everybody. If they give you a legit answer as to why someone's tracking us and it still leads to just being ignorant to the fact, stop talking to them. Because they're going to say, well, you got to surveil people. You don't know who's here. Yeah, that's the problem. They let them all in, and they're tracking us, not them. They're not tracking the migrants. They're tracking us. How we know this dude wasn't no double agent? Dude, for all I know, could be whatever. It was white people in other countries. He can speak clear English. I don't know this man. And if he is American and a Democrat, we in a sick place right now if the people are really thinking that shooting a standing president is the right thing to do. That's not the way. You don't even have to do that. All you got to do is stop playing the game. Hit them pockets, baby. They want the money. They want money. We want freedom. They want money. We want freedom. Money, freedom. No freedom, no money. Let me say it again. No freedom, no money. I'm being honest, man. We got to draw a line. We got to draw a line somewhere. This shit getting weird right now. It's too much going on. It's cats being eaten, ducks being eaten. They out here doing rituals. And you guys do know Haitians do practice voodoo and black magic and all this other stuff, right? They actually do that in their country faithfully. Like, they do sacrifice cats. That's normal. That's completely normal in Haiti. Right? Oh, yeah. And this. Americans arrested in Venezuela accused of plotting to kill Maduro. That's probably true. You know how many times America's pulled a coup in another country? That's normal for us, right? So the fact that they got 3 Americans detained and people are like, they would never do that. You have not been paying attention long enough, bless your heart. We love coup attempts in our government. Our government pulled its own coup attempt when they shot Kennedy. What do you think that was when they plucked off Kennedy? Both of them. Actually, all 3 of them. Do you think that was it? That's what a coup looks like. The thing is that it shouldn't have happened because he wasn't supposed to do that. He wasn't supposed to go in office and do what he did, but he did. And America's been very known for pulling coups in people's elections. This is why the argument that we don't want anyone interfering in our elections, then why don't we stop interfering in everyone else's election? Like, how do you not believe America's just not interfering in other people's elections? We interfered in Afghanistan's, Egypt's, Libya, Iraq, Russia, Syria, Uganda, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Ghana, South Africa. South America, we have completely destroyed. Venezuela is our fault. Coup attempt was attempted, what, 20 years ago down there? Something like that? 10, 20 years ago, they tried that bigger coup attempt, and it didn't work. We've been doing this for years. Everyone's doing it. We're just out here subverting ourselves. Just, everyone. PSYOPs, everybody. You get a PSYOP. You get a PSYOP. Everybody gets a PSYOP. Haiti. You think Haiti is an accident? Them people, when they shot the president of Haiti that one, 2 years ago? 3 years ago? Those people said it was DEA. And in that year, I think like 3, 4 different like political figures were shot down there, 2 from America. One being from Mobile, Alabama. Yeah. Shit has made it here too. So all I'm saying, guys, is stop playing with this. Don't sensationalize it. Don't do nothing. I'm on here tonight because that's my job. I'm media, apparently, alternative media. So I got to come on here when the deep state make a big move. I got to be on here to watch it, cover it, understand it, and filter it out and give it to y'all with a little bit of my touch on it. You know, I'm not Alex Jones and any of these other people, but like to think of myself as someone who's doing his thing. So understand, this shit is real. The deep state is real. Your president does not do anything of real importance. He is the face of the corporation. Okay? Look for the people you don't see, like before Kissinger died, that old bastard, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Hiltons, all these rich elite in America, the Koch brothers. You don't see the Clintons as much anymore, if that's the real Clintons. Don't judge me on that comment. If that's the real ones. Understand that these people are working against us. They are the deep state. The deep state is a big machine of corporations, political figures, social activists. You just don't know who's involved. You have to follow the money, follow the breadcrumbs, follow all of the little stuff that we're talking about and look at who's controlling it and figure it out. Sure. Is there some compartmentalization to this? Yes. Everyone is not going to know that they're part of a mass psyop. Some people really think they're doing the right thing until they realize they're not doing the right thing, and then they become a whistleblower. That's how you create whistleblowers. So everything that's going on, I assure you, someone knows at that level what's going on in that area, okay? It's not like it's hidden. It's not. We just don't notice it because we're playing the rat race and we're out here trying to feed our children or live our best life or chase the American dream until we open our eyes and realize it's a fucking nightmare. We're all out here trying to make the best way or make the ends meet the best way possible that we can. And the whole time we're missing the whole plot of what's happening against us and what's being done to us. And we're not understanding why we're sick or we're getting sicker. We're not understanding why our mental health is deteriorating. You're not understanding why your parents are having dementia, Alzheimer's, diabetes. Because there's chemicals in your food. It has absolutely nothing to do with you exercising for real. It's the food you're eating. It's the air you're breathing. It's the water you're drinking. It's the clothes you're wearing. All of it has something to do with poison. The damn toilet paper's poison, people. Your toilet paper has forever chemicals in it. You probably wonder where prostate cancer is coming from. It's coming from your toilet paper. I know that shit sounds crazy, and I'm sure when the time comes, they're gonna take this video, they're gonna chop it up, weaponize it, and be like, this dude believes toilet paper killing people. The article's real. There's BPAs in your toilet paper. Women, there's arsenic and cyanide in tampons. That article's already come out. That story's true too. You've been sticking chemicals in your vag your whole life and you didn't even know it. And you're wondering why you got like cyst on your ovaries, or your flow is heavy, or it's wrong, or it's irregular. It's because your body's taking in chemicals. And everything that I say should have everybody in the uproar to where we should be demanding change, but for some reason we can't get anyone to demand the change. We just can't get it. I just don't understand why we can't get it. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of deaf, dumb, and blind walking around out here, but there's like another 90 million that knows what's going on. But we haven't made the exact move to stop it. I don't know what else to say. Like, the best plan that I got, and I'm here to tell you, this is the best plan that I got. You guys better unite, create a business out of your group, and have that corporation sue through Supreme Court like the Brunson brothers are doing. That is our only fight. That's the only fight that we can probably get away with. You got to get off the grid too. Yes. Thank you for that, David. Listen, I've been meaning to mention this. If you are living in a major city, I would advise you to get out. Because the cities are going to be the first ones taken. See, the bigger fight's going to come from the smaller towns. The cities aren't going to be hard because they got y'all on a grid. All they got to do is cut off your exit points and it's over. At least in those small towns, there's a little bit of fight, but those towns only have 1 or 2 exit points. Those people go off into the woods, but they're off the grid. So now you change the course of the field or the battlefield. In a city, it's a lot different because there's going to be pandemonium and chaos out there. You guys gotta wisen up. And if you don't have a plan, man, you can hit my inbox. I'll give you links. I'll hit you up. I'll give you some ideas, man. Nothing crazy. I'm just gonna tell you the God honest truth. But I think we should really stop playing with this. Like, if there was ever a moment that we all need to be blowing the whistle, this would be the moment right now. People, get your groups together, go file an LLC, turn it into an S Corp or C Corp, and we all need to go sue the government. I'm telling you how to go about this. This is going to be the best way to go about it. And you can do it in groups of 20. That would be even better if they had groups of 20 just filing lawsuits. It's 300 million people in them, 360 million people plus in here. Half of them are old enough to file an LLC and then an S Corp and then go file a lawsuit. Because that's the only way you're going to get something done. The Brunson brothers have started it. They've showed you what we need to do. They've showed you how to go about it. It's going to need to be done, but I'm going to remind you that it's not going to go well if you do it, and you're going to have some blowback. You're going to probably lose your job. You're going to probably lose your house. You're probably going to get arrested. You may not make it. But there is unity in numbers. There's power in numbers. And they're either going to have to do this to everybody, which is going to spark a greater conflict against them, which shows that it's coming from them. If everybody unites right now, like you're looking in this picture around the world, people uniting and all this stuff, that's what they want. You see that peacefulness? That's what they want. Get out of the streets flying flags. Go create you a business, S-corp it out, and go file a lawsuit against the U.S. government. The exact same way the Brunson brothers did it. That's my best advice to you guys. Because the other option, no one's really prepared for that option. And I've never seen a real firefight as a veteran. I'm Air Force. I can only tell you from the training videos and the documentaries that they show us before we go on deployment and, you know, and stuff we do know. It is ugly. It is horrible. It is not what you want to do. It stinks. It sucks. It's stressful. It's dirty. You're not going to sleep well. You will not be the same. If you go that route, we may not come back from it. We may not come back from it. I will never sit here and condone the violence, but always remember, in 1776, however you feel about your forefathers, they did it over a 2% tax hike. People, we are at 45% of our money is going to taxes, or is being taxed. 45% of our income is being taxed. Sugar, food, cigarettes, medical, government, Social Security, tax on tax, gun tax, water tax, storing water tax, solar tax, state tax, highway tax, education tax, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with education, free medical that helps people and does not put them in a waiting line for death like they did us in VA. And I say us, I mean veterans as a whole. There's things that we do need to tax, like education, because we need a better education system. Free medical would be nice too. At least subsidized. That's not poisoning us. And they're not taking money for getting prescription pills issued to people. There's too much going on that's wrong that should make us realize it's time to fix it and it's time to move forward. Before I get off of here tonight, I'm going to go ahead and say this. If you do not realize that the deep state is real, welcome to 2024, Sugar Plum. The deep state is very real. The deep state has infiltrated every organization, every government around the world. They are in everything that we know of that in regards to the way of our life. Our clothes, our food, our entertainment, our media, the propaganda we're watching, the movies, the music. They got a hand in everything. It would behoove us to learn how to move through this without getting EOs and martial law implemented. I personally would think banding together and filing a lawsuit may be the thing, but it's going to escalate to something more. Because they're going to take it as a direct act of treason and they're going to retaliate for that because they're not going to go away. They would cut the lights off before they give up the power. I actually believe that one. So even if we do that, at least we can show why they did it. Instead of us waiting on them to cut the lights out and just do something to us, how about we give them the reason of we found out who they were, we filed a lawsuit in the Supreme Court, and we want a trial. Make them cut the lights off and prove that they're the problem. Hit them pockets. We want freedom. They want money. We get no freedom. They get no money. See what I'm saying? You guys got to understand, man. They want money. We want freedom. We don't get no freedom. They don't get no money. That's how it should be. What is freedom? I'm not saying we shouldn't have police officers. I think we need to burn that down and start over too with people who actually care about the community and aren't going to take money and not be a part of the fraternal brotherhood of police, because they do have their own little sect inside of their police, the fraternal order of police officers, whatever it is, or fraternal brotherhood of police. Yeah, they have their own secret society. We need to fix this, and we better fix it quickly, because what's coming down the pipeline for us will go down in the history books as basically the New World Order enslaved the whole world. And there's only been one group to conquer the whole world, and that was the Moors, allegedly. That was the last group to conquer the world, and they're trying again. Not the Moors, could be a combination of all the groups involved. Which I think 2,000 to 3,000 rich people are the problem, including the secret societies that are hiding inside of them. So tonight, this is the coverage of the Trump assassination attempt. This wasn't supposed to be what my show was about tonight, but whatever. We got 3 hours in. I had a little dinner. We had a good time. I appreciate you guys coming on with me tonight. You guys stay smart. You keep your head on a swivel, man. From here on out, stop wasting your time trying to make people believe this shit. Keep your head on a swivel from here on out. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your items, your home, but don't go out here and be a vigilante. That's not what I'm asking y'all to do. Do not do that. All right? If it's go time, you'll know it's go time, and from that point, I shouldn't have to say nothing or tell you it's go time. I think you'll all know it's go time if it comes to that. All I'll tell you is don't be a vigilante. Get your groups together, create an S corp, and go sue the government through the Supreme Court. That's your best bet right now, and we're gonna go from there. All right? I appreciate you guys sitting on with me tonight. Hope it's good coverage. Hope you had a good time. I enjoy you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Feel free to share this. Share. Accepting donations is very accepted at the Daily Rabbit Hole. Thank you in advance if you donate, when you donate. If someone's looking to find out the truth or find out some information, you can send them to the Daily Rabbit Hole, guys. I appreciate you guys a lot, all right? You have a great night, and I love you.